Chapter 1. At the Hokage's office. Naruto, I know you just got back from a training trip with Jiraiya not too long ago. But with how close even he came to dying fighting pain, we've decided to tell you who your parents were and send you back out for about a year to learn your dad's most famous jutsu, Tsunade said. Wait, you mean to say that you and Jiraiya knew who my parents were all this time and didn't tell me? Naruto asked while starting to get a little angry. Your father had many enemies, and we thought that you should be told when you were strong enough to protect yourself from them. And your mother was from a country called Whirlpool, Tsunade said. They were Minato and Kushin and Namikaze, but to keep you safe you were given your mother's last name of Uzumaki. What she means is your father was the fourth Hokage, and you'll be training with me to learn Hiraishin no Jutsu. That jutsu is why he was called the Yellow Flash, added Jiraiya. Though I can't use it, I can still help you better understand the scroll that says how to do it. Sweet. I can finally tell Hinata that I like her, said Naruto, no longer mad. Wait, you're more concerned about that than why your dad sealed the QB in you? A surprised Tsunade asked. Well, yeah. I would think it would be obvious that my dad couldn't have expected anyone else to give up their kid if he wouldn't use his own first, Naruto answered. And I have always known about Hinata's crush on me. Well, since I was 12, that is. But I could never tell her I liked her back, or she might have been hurt by somebody who hated me. That, and her dad would never let some no-name orphan see his daughter. Now that I know my dad was the fourth, I'm not a no-name anymore, so her dad can't stop me for that. And no one can say anything bad about her going out with the son of the fourth. Wow, you really thought things though. But what about Sakura? I thought you liked her, asked Jiraiya. Well, I kind of did, but now she's more like a sister to me. I mean, half of the reason I liked her was even if I could get a date from her, we could just pass it off as a team meeting. So nobody could hurt her for dating me. But I always liked Hinata more, Naruto answered. So when do I leave? Do I have time to tell anyone I'm leaving? We leave right now, and Tsunade will tell everyone where you went, Jiraiya said. When you get back, I'll announce who your parents were, and I think you'll be ready to start learning how to be Hokage, Tsunade added. Take that, you old coots, thought Tsunade, thinking of how great it will be to shove Naruto's parents in the faces of the Elder Council. Well, let's go then, Naruto said as he ran out the door with Jiraiya following. 3 months later. Hokage-sama Itachi Uchiha is awake. He wishes to speak to you, some random ENBU says as he enters the Hokage's office. Very well, I'll head right over, Tsunade said as she headed to the hospital. At the hospital. So traitor, what did you want to talk to me about? Tsunade spat. I wish to clear my name and tell you what I know about Akatsuki, stated Itachi. Now why would I believe anything you say, asked Tsunade. Because the 3RD's old teammates will outright deny what I'm about to tell you, and I no longer wish to protect my idiot of a brother, answered Itachi. Knowing that 3RD's old teammates would lie to hide their shame, Tsunade decided to hear him out, and Itachi told her of the Uchiha coup and how now Sasuke is an Akatsuki with the remaining 4 members. Having believed most of his story but wanting to confirm that Sasuke is an Akatsuki and what he does in it, sends for Hinata as she heads back to her office. At the Hokage's office. Hearing a knock at the door, Tsunade said, Come in. Hinata, I want to get right down to why I called you here. Itachi Uchiha has just woken up and told me some things that I want to look into, which is why you're here. But wouldn't a mission involving any Uchiha be at least A ranked? So why me by myself? Asked Hinata. Well, the mission is actually S ranked and must be kept a secret between just the 2 of us. And as for why you, I needed someone that Sasuke barely knew and that an Akatsuki member has not been killed by. The only person that fits that is you, Hinata, stated Tsunade. If I'm the only one that can go, then I guess I must go then. So what is the mission? Asked Hinata. I hate to do this to the kid, but she's my only option, thought Tsunade, and answered, For 1 year you are to infiltrate Akatsuki from the inside, find out as much as you can, and get back here. If at any point you're found out or deem your life in danger, you are to abandon the mission and come back. Do you accept the mission? Yes, but what am I to use as my cover for joining? Asked Hinata. Your cover will be that you wish for revenge on the village for the way that they treated Naruto, pulling out a scratched headband and a scroll. Tsunade said, You will leave here, right now, as a B ranked missing nin. Since you have the Byakugan, I can't put you down as a C ranked. but you are not to engage a retrieval squad. If you can't escape, you are to give up the mission and return with them. Yes, ma'am. And with that, Hinata left not to return for a year. Chapter 2. A wet letter. In the Hokage's office a few days after Hinata left on her mission. Hokage, a letter just came from Jiraiya, a random ENBU said. I wonder what he wants. You better stay here till I read this in case you're needed, Tsunade stated as she took the letter and read. Dear Tsunade, the kid did it. It only took him 3 months and he learned it. The kid's a genius when it comes to jutsus. But since I know you want us gone for a year, we're traveling around to all his friends to give them one of the kunai, and I sent one with the letter. I could only delay us for another 3 months though. The kid wants to make a big entrance, so just put the kunai in the council room. I don't know why the kid isn't Hokage yet with all the friends and power he's got. I mean, there's the Princess of Snow, the guy who built the bridge that's named after the kid, and a bunch more. Although the one that sticks out the most is the priestess from Demon. Cheyenne, I think the kid said her name was. But anyway, apparently she asked him to help her produce an heir, which he accepted to keep his mask of stupidly from being discovered. But when they were alone, he told her the truth, but said that if he didn't have a girlfriend by time he was 18, he'd come back and marry her. So I guess I haven't rubbed off on him too much yet, but there's still time. The kid is going to give me plenty of research material if I stick around long enough. Heck, I got enough for 1 book already. Oh, tell Kakashi my next book should be coming out soon called Ika Ika Legacy. Well, see you in 3 months. Jiraiya. P.S. I haven't told the kid yet, but if my spy network is right, and it always is, you got a lot of explaining to do when we get back as to why she's a missing nin. When Tsunade finished reading, she got really angry and scared at the same time. Scared because Jiraiya knew Hinata was a missing nin, and angry because Niji and Kakashi left out the part about Cheyenne in that mission report. Go get me Niji and drag Kakashi here right now, she said. A couple minutes later, 2 ENBU arrive with Niji and dragging Kakashi by his vest. I'm going to try to stay calm here, so answer my question. Why was this left out of the mission report of when you escorted the priestess and demon? Tsunade said as she pointed to the line in the letter. We didn't think it was that important, so we didn't tell you. Kakashi said, getting ready for the worst. Yep, added Niji with a blush as he remembered what had happened. When they said that, Tsunade exploded. Not important. Not important. Naruto was asked by the client to have sex with her, and it's not important. As she closed her mouth, she had that look that she had when she caught Jiraiya peeking on her in the hot spring. You know, the first time Jiraiya almost died. Luckily for Kakashi, Jiraiya had warned him of that look and yelled as loud as he could, ruin AWAOIY, as Niji pulled 2 halves of a coconut out and clacked them together as they ran. And, sorry I had to do that. I couldn't stop thinking of that when I thought of how Tsunade would react in that situation. Hidden Rain. Was that Kakashi yelling, like he saw a rabbit, thought Hinata as she approached the place where Jiraiya fought Pain. When she got there, Pain had sensed her coming and was waiting for her. Pain started the conversation with, so another leaf tries to kill me. But you're weaker than my stupid teacher, so that can't be why. So why are you here? Hinata just points to her headband around her neck. So you think you can join us just by being a missing nin? Asked Pain. No, I want revenge on Hidden Leaf for what they did to the guy I like, answered Hinata sternly. Now why would that be a reason for us to let you in? Inquired Pain. Hopefully this work, or I'm stuck, thought Hinata, and said, his name is Naruto Uzumaki. She's a Hyuga, and likes the 9 tails container. Even if she's weak, she'll be of some use. And Sasuke needs a partner, thought Pain, saying, I can't make finial decisions on new members, but I know who can. Go to Hidden Mist and tell the Mizukage that Red Rain sent you. Very well, I guess we're done then, and I head there, said Hinata. Yes, but one more question before you go. How did you know I was who I was? Asked Pain. And they're standing outside on the street, so they can't openly say Akatsuki. As Hinata walked away, she said, Jiraiya has a big mouth. I overheard him tell the Hokage about you. When Hinata left, Conan came out and said, you know Toby will probably kill her, right? Yeah, you're right, but maybe not. She might be able to do what Itachi and Kisame without even fighting, since she loves him. That, and be able to help find the last-tailed demon, Pain said. 1 month. Naruto on his way from demon to snow, Hinata on her way from rain to mist, in some random city. As Naruto is walking through some crowded streets, a bluish-purple blur goes past, and he runs into. "Hey Kiba, Shino, what are you guys doing here?" asked Naruto. "We're on a mission. Can't stop to talk right now," Kiba says as he and Shino run after the blur. "That was close," Kiba said, once they were away from Naruto. "Yes, that would have been disastrous if we had stayed," added Shino. Flashback, 12 days ago in the Hokage's office. "Kiba, Shino, you're going on a mission. You will retrieve Hinata before Naruto comes back, but if you run into him, tell him nothing. You leave now," stated Tsunade, while thinking, "If I knew all this would have happened, I wouldn't have sent her on that mission." "Yes, ma'am," they said, heading out to find Hinata. In flashback. "Great, I lost her now," said Kiba. "My bugs still have her." "This way," said Shino, heading off. Chapter 3. True Beginnings and the Return of the Yellow Flash. 1 month later, just outside of Hidden Mist, 1 month before Naruto's return, and 7 months till Hinata's mission ends. Murata, having been told by Pain, you know the projector thingies, that Hinata is coming, appears at the gate as Hinata nears it. "Ah, the missing leaf Nin finally arrives," said Murata. "Sorry I had some hunter Nins to lose before I came, but I didn't expect you to meet me at the gate, Mizukage," Hinata replied, "but I guess I should have since Red Rain sent me." "I see he did approve of you joining, but let us continue this conversation in my office," said Murata as they headed to his office. Once they got to the office, Murata continued, "If you didn't already know, we, Akatsuki, work in pairs to capture the tailed demons. You have met Pain already. His partner is Konan, mine is Zetsu. And if you join, you will be paired with another ex-Leaf Nin that you have probably heard of named Sasuke Uchiha." "Yes, I have heard of him. So it must have been you my team fought when we were going after Itachi," Hinata said, and added, "Though you said he died fighting his brother, but he didn't." "That's too bad. Sasuke will be mad that he's still alive. But oh well," responded Murata. "Now if you want to join us, you will have to do something to prove your loyalty." "And what would that be?" asked Hinata. "You will train with Sasuke for 1 month and then capture the 9-tailed demon," stated Murata as Zetsu came into the room. "Now if you wait outside, Zetsu will take you to Sasuke in a minute." "Very well, I'll see you when I have the 9 tails then," Hinata said as she left the office. "She doesn't have a clue, does she?" stated Zetsu. "No, she doesn't. About Naruto being the 9 tails, or what she has either," said Murata as Zetsu left. 1 month later, the council room. "What is this meeting about, Tsunade?" asked Danzo. "I can answer that," declared Jiraiya as he walked in the room. "I was sent with Naruto to train him in a certain jutsu that is apparently a bloodline jutsu, since even with his help, I still couldn't learn it." "Huh. Naruto has a bloodline. I'll believe it when I see it," stated Hiraishin. "I would have arranged a wedding for Hinata and him if he had one, since I know how much she likes him." "Well, you can see it now," Tsunade said as she threw down the kunai. With that, Naruto appeared in front of the council with a yo. Luckily, Tsunade had a medical team waiting, because half of the council had heart attacks when Naruto appeared, while the rest were speechless. Once things calmed down, Tsunade said, "I think that's all the proof I need for who his parents were now, isn't it?" Everybody just nodded their heads up and down, still stunned at what just happened. "Good, that makes this meeting that much easier. So no one is going to complain when I give him the Namikaze compound then?" Everybody just shook their heads no. Good. Meeting adjourned. With that, almost everybody left, leaving just Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Naruto. "In 5 days, I'll make the announcement of who your parents were, Naruto," said Tsunade. "Okay, now explain to us why a certain someone left the village," Jiraiya said sternly. "Huh, someone left the village?" Naruto added questionably. Fine. I sorry, Naruto, but Hinata became a missing Nin 3 months ago," Tsunade said while waiting for the worst, and she got it. "What? Hinata is a missing Nin, but how? She seemed fine before I left." "Before I left? It's my fault, isn't it? It has to be. I keep leaving her. I should have told her I loved her before I left." With that, Naruto ran to his apartment crying. "That not the whole story, is it, Tsunade?" Jiraiya questioned, knowing there was something she wasn't saying. "Yes, but I can't tell anyone for 6 months. Sorry," Tsunade said. "For once I can say this to you. You're an idiot," Jiraiya stated as he turned to leave, knowing why she said what she said. As Jiraiya left, Tsunade mumbled, "I know." The next day, Naruto went to see his friends, but they all ignored him for the same reason he had cried the day before. Kiba even hit him, saying, "Why do you always do something stupid?" "Fine if they just ignore me. I'll do something that they can't ignore," thought Naruto. Chapter 4. Troublesome Naruto. 3 days after Naruto's return in the Hokage's office. "Hokage-sama, he did it again, Yamato." And, "Haha, I bet you thought it was going to be another random ANBU," says running in. "Who did what again?" asks Tsunade. "I found this in the scroll room," said Yamato as he hands a note to Tsunade and she reads. "Hey Bachan. By the time you read this, I'll be long gone. I'm sorry, but I have to look for her. Even my friends think that she left because of me. I think I know where she is. That's why I was in the scroll room, where I copied down my dad's jutsus that can seal and unseal a demon. If my plan works, I might be able to bring her back, but I'll have to give up on being Hokage if it doesn't work. Even if it does, I doubt the council will want a Hokage that was a missing mean anyway. So I left something for Konohamaru that he'll like. Just look out the window. Also, I left my headband sealed in this note. I can't bring myself to scratch it. Give it back to Irika for me, and tell him I'll come for it when I get back. I promise to come back sometime even if my plan fails, so see you then. Naruto. P.S. I hope where I'm headed doesn't have the other 8, or else it won't matter if I come back, so wish me luck." When she finished reading, Tsunade ran to the window to see that once again the Hokage monument was painted like it was 3 years ago, but with one addition. Just past Tsunade's head in big bold letters were the words, "This space reserved for Konohamaru Sarutobi." "Naruto!" yelled Tsunade, so loud that he even heard it where he was, which a couple of miles by now. Once Tsunade calmed down, she said to Yamato, "Go get me Jiraiya. Just get me all of Naruto's friends, and get this out immediately," and handed him a bingo book from a drawer in her desk. "This is a one I made up just in case this happened." Yamato opened it to the new page and said as he left, he may have his mom's attitude, but in here he's the same as his dad, for on that page was Naruto's profile that ended the same as his dad's with an order to not engage. Once everyone arrived, Tsunade started. "If you didn't know from the message on the monument, Naruto has left to find Hinata. He is now an S-class missing mean, and you guys are the only ones who can stop him. He is headed to Akatsuki, which is where he thinks Hinata went." "Wait, why would Hinata go to Akatsuki? And if Naruto is an S-class, why is Hinata only a B-class?" asked Kiba. "Naruto believes she left because she hates him for leaving again and would go to Akatsuki for revenge. As for why he's S-class, it's because he can use almost all his father's jutsus, and for the same reason Akatsuki want him," answered Tsunade while thinking, "I hope they don't question that any further. I don't want to tell them about Kyuubi yet with everything else that's going on." "But why did Boss give up on being Hokage just to go after Hinata? And who is his dad?" asked Konohamaru. "This is going to be announced in 2 days, so don't say anything to anyone. But Naruto's father was Minato Namikaze, better known as the 4th Hokage or the Yellow Flash. And he hasn't completely given up on Hokage. It's just going to be that much harder for him now that he's a missing mean temporarily. And to him, Hinata is worth that," said Tsunade. That had all the younger ninjas speechless, but it wasn't that long after that the rest joined them, since Kurenai said, "You make it sound like Naruto likes Hinata." "That would be an understatement, Kurenai. Jiraiya said he loves her. He just couldn't risk telling her." The first person to recover was Shikamaru, being that he could put 2 and 2 together to realize Naruto was the son of the 4th, and it made sense from all the cold stares Naruto got from people that he would worry about Hinata's safety if they were a couple. He had long ago figured out Naruto had some connection to Kyuubi, but deemed it too troublesome to ask anyone what it was. "Enough with the troublesome questions. What are we to do to get him back?" asked Shikamaru. "It will be the same as when you try to get Sasuke back. Neji, you will be team leader, with Shikamaru, Ino, and Sakura. I will give you 1 week to get him back. After the week is up, you must return, and I make a new team to try again. So get to it. The rest of you are dismissed," said Tsunade, but then added, "Before you ask, I can't send Jiraiya with you. I need him here when I make known who Naruto's parents are." With that, everyone left, and Neji, Shikamaru, Ino, and Sakura left to try and find Naruto. Meanwhile, with Sasuke and Hinata. And here comes the OOC Sasuke. "So Sasuke, why are we heading towards Hidden Leaf if we're looking for the 9 Tails?" asked Hinata. Because that's where it is. It'd been hidden from our generation to keep the container safe, but it didn't work out the way it was planned, said Sasuke while thinking for the 10th time this month. Why does Naruto get all the hot women? All I got was a bunch of flat-chested fangirls. Wait, you're saying that it was in Leaf the whole time? We just didn't know it, stated Hinata as she stopped in a clearing. Yep, replied Sasuke. Speak of the demon, thought Sasuke, just as Naruto landed in the same clearing. Hey new guys, shouted Naruto, looking for me. Why did Naruto say that, thought Hinata as it hit her. It all makes sense now, the way Naruto was treated. So he's the container for the 9 tails. Yeah, we are. What, you came to surrender to us? Sasuke said jokingly. No, I came to make a trade, but I'll only tell your leader, stated Naruto. Well, you have to tell us what you're trading for since I think I know what you're offering, responded Sasuke. Fine, Hinata, said Naruto. Hinata was dumbfounded and took off the hood she was wearing. Why would you endanger the world just to get me back? Hinata questioned. Hi Hinata, said a very surprised Naruto. Why you do hate me, don't you? That's why you joined Akatsuki? Hate you? Yeah right, chimed in Sasuke, taking off his hood. He's right. I could never hate you, Naruto. Even with the 9 tails in you, I still love you, Hinata said while running up and hugging Naruto. She then whispered, it's just a mission to find out if some things that Itachi told Tsunade are true. Then Naruto whispered back, I'll play along then so you can go home early, then said to Sasuke, okay, I wish to join too. I'll even give you the fox since I have a way to release him without killing me. Naruto then added, Hinata, I knew since I was 12 that you liked me and always wanted to tell you that I love you too. Now let's go before anyone comes to get me. I have a lot to tell you too on the way. Hey, Sasuke, mind if I start calling you brother? Said Naruto as they left. After having many conversations with Hinata, Sasuke started to be more like his old self, wanting to kill the corrupt part of the Leaf Council instead of the doing it to destroy Leaf, answered, only if I can call you brother as well. Chapter 5. Meeting and Planning. 1 week later at Akatsuki's base. Hinata, Naruto, and Sasuke arrive at the base after they tell each other everything they know from why Itachi killed his clan to who Naruto's parents were. Well, everything but Hinata's mission. And yes, I'm being lazy, but I just don't like spending a chapter or more just to say stuff like that. If I write a story with long chapters, one might. See Toby, smart Hinata and Sasuke bring 9 tail. Not even Itachi and Kisame do that. Toby is a good boy. If you don't know who said that, then too bad. Give it up, Murata. No one thinks you that stupid anymore, stated Pain. Fine. So why isn't he tied up? Asked Murata. I'm not tied up because I came of my own free will and wish to make a deal with you, said Naruto. A deal? Anything short of giving me the 9 tail, and there won't be a deal, replied Murata. That's exactly what I'm offering, and you get to choose which of my ideas you use. But no matter which one you pick, I join Akatsuki, stated Naruto. So how are you going to survive the removal of the 9 tail to join us? Asked Murata. Simple. I have my dad's jutsus on how to seal and unseal a demon. And if you try to double-cross me, I'll use my dad's Hiraishin so Yotsu'n't touch me, answered Naruto. Well then, what are your ideas then, Naruto? Asked Murata. The first one is simple. I give you the jutsu on how to unseal a demon. You remove the fox, and you let me join, said Naruto. The second one is you let me join with the fox and me still, and we start our own hidden village where we stop all wars using the tailed demons, which I know that at least Pain and Konan want from what Jiraiya told me. And I let you have both the jutsu to seal and the jutsu to unseal a demon, said Naruto. Pain then whispered to Murata, that village thing might not be too bad of an idea. 9 hosts would be able to stop any war, plus, since we would control them, no one would have any power over you. Then Murata spoke, let me think about your ideas, but let me add some things to your end. If I just let you join, you must also give me the 8 tail as well. And you must also retrieve Itachi before I start a village, since I do not want another village with Uchiha blood in it. Wait, I have 2 demons in me, asked a very confused Naruto. No, she has the 8-tailed rabbit sealed in her, Murata said as he pointed to Hinata. Hinata, Naruto, and Sasuke were so confused that they fainted. Once they woke up, Murata said, so I take it that they didn't even tell your generation about the second most powerful but most timid of all the tailed demons. It was a strange relationship that the 8 and 9 tails had. Most would think that the 8 tail would forever be chased by the 9 tail for the simple fact that one was a rabbit and the other a fox. But in fact, it was the other way around. Somehow the 8 tail had fallen in love with the 9 tail and would pursue him in secret. The 9 tail also loved the 8 tail, but could never tell her that because he would be the laughing stock of all the demons. But one day the 8 tail couldn't find the 9 tail. It took 2 months to find his trail. It had led her to Hidden Leaf. Now the 8 tails was so timid that it led her to create a way to seal herself into a host of her choice, be it for a short time or forever, being that the only difference between her and a real rabbit is her glowing red eyes. She snuck into the village unnoticed and found out that her love had been sealed into a boy the night he disappeared, and found herself near the Hyuga compound where a little girl had just been born. Not wanting to be away from her fox, she then sealed herself in the girl. And I almost added that the only way to kill the 8 tail is with a holy hand grenade. Very well, since it won't kill me, you can have the rabbit too, said Hinata, hoping Naruto knew what he was doing. Good, you'll have your answer soon. Now go get Itachi, Murata said as he threw an Akatsuki cloak to Naruto and Hinata. Naruto and Sasuke left for Hidden Leaf. Well, do you think they know that we know about the girl's mission? Asked Zetsu once they left. I don't know, but we'll know if they come back. That they don't know, said Murata. Meanwhile, with Naruto's group. So, do you think they know that they know about your mission? Naruto whispered to Hinata. No. So let's use it to our advantage, but from what you said you did before we left, you might not be accepted back, but I'll always stay by your side. Hinata whispered back, then asked Sasuke, are you going to try to kill your brother once we get to Hidden Leaf? No, I will not. Not only were we sent to retrieve him, but I won't anymore now that I know the truth, answered Sasuke. Now let's get this over with. Meanwhile, in Hidden Leaf in the Hokage's office. We couldn't find him, stated Niji. Well then, it's time to make the new team. Okay, Jiraiya, Kiba, Shikamaru, and Shino will be the team this time, said Tsunade. But before you go, mind telling me why you are not guilty about the way you treated Naruto before he left? Why should we? He made Hinata leave, stated Kiba. Fine. What I'm about to say is an S-class secret and is punishable by death if you tell anyone what I'm about to say. Got it? Tsunade said. Everyone nodded. Good. The reason why Hinata left was not because of Naruto. It's because I sent her on an S-class mission to find out if what Itachi had told me when he was in the hospital was true. And no, I won't tell you what he said. As a wave of guilt went over everybody that had treated Naruto badly, Kiba said, as soon as we find him, I'll apologize for everybody. Good. You have 1 week. Now go find him before Akatsuki does, Tsunade said as the new team left. Chapter 5. Mission's End. 3 days later in the forest with Jiraiya and gang. He came this way and stopped for a while, said Kiba. Wait, I smell him. He's coming this way, but there are 2 other people with him. Okay, everybody get ready, it might be Akatsuki, said Jiraiya as everybody followed Kiba to where he smelled Naruto and hid and heard the Akatsuki members talking. So, do you think that Itachi is with Ibiki? Asked one of them. No, Tsunade already got what she wanted out of him. So he's either in confinement or she might have believed him and released him, said another. The third one said, we know you're there, so come on out, we wish to talk with you. Knowing they were caught, Jiraiya, Kiba, Shikamaru, and Shino walked out with Shikamaru, of course, muttering troublesome. Jiraiya then said, so what did you want to talk to us about? And why are there 3 of you? He's a new recruit, said the third one pointing to the first, and you heard what we were talking about. We want to know where Itachi is. Why, so you can kill him? Asked Kiba. No, we need his help with something, so we just need to get him back, stated the second one. Your voice sounds like someone I know, and you're not getting Itachi back. He's happy back in Hidden Leaf. He even has a girlfriend now. Kiba said. Thank you for the info there, Kiba, said the first one. Good going, idiot, said the third one, and Jiraiya at the same time. It is you, Hinata, Shino said and questionably added, and Naruto, as his bugs moved close enough to remove the hoods of the Akatsuki members, and did. Wait, Sasuke too, said Shikamaru now that he could see who they were. It's good to see you guys again. Bye-bye, said Naruto as he flung a three-pronged kunai, grabbed Sasuke and Hinata, and they vanished in a yellow flash. All right, that's it. I'm not apologizing to a traitor, said Kiba. Now don't jump to conclusions, Kiba, said Jiraiya. I agree with Kiba. It would be one thing if it was just Naruto and Hinata, but with Sasuke with them, it's only thing I can come up with, said Shikamaru. Well, traitors or not, we know where they're headed, so let's go, said Shino as they headed back to Hidden Leaf. Back with Naruto running to Hidden Leaf. Good going, Naruto. Now they know we're coming for Itachi, said Sasuke. And he means the three of them, not Akatsuki. They didn't care if they knew Akatsuki was coming. I know. I guess we can't go back to Hidden Leaf anymore. So I guess my offer was real now, Naruto said. We should tell him even if he knows like the rest. I guess so. Sasuke, I was sent by Tsunade to find out if your brother told her the truth about your clan, and if you really joined Akatsuki. I was to return in about 5 months, but with what just happened the mission failed, and I'll probably be a real missing me now, said Hinata. All of Akatsuki knew of the mission, and if it weren't for what Naruto said in his deal, you both would be dead now. But I think Madara sees potential in the village Naruto wants to make, so if we get Itachi to come back with us, he might just keep you two alive. Heck, he might let Naruto be the Kage, so he can keep Hidden Mist under his control, said Sasuke. Well, I guess we need a plan now that we know that Itachi is living in the village, said Hinata. How about if Sasuke and one of my clones just appear back in the village, while me and Hinata go and talk with Itachi, suggested Naruto. That's not too bad of a plan, but what about the girlfriend? Asked Sasuke. Well, we are starting a village, so I don't think Madara will have a problem with us bringing her back with us, replied Naruto. Sounds like we just need to find Itachi now, said Hinata. Meanwhile, in Hidden Leaf at Ichiraku's ramen stand. Hey, Itachi the usual? Asked Ayam. Yep, so is our date still on for the day after tomorrow? Asked Itachi. Yeah, I'm free then, Ayam said as she handed him his order. So you have no problems going out with me? Asked Itachi. How many times are you going to ask that? If what people say isn't true, I don't care, responded Ayam. I was like a big sister to Naruto, so why would I care what people think about you? Okay, I'll pick you up about 8 then, said Itachi as he finished his ramen and left. Chapter 7. Will he go? 2 days later in Hidden Leaf. Wow, security stinks here, said Naruto's clone. And here on out it will be just clone. Yep, no wonder my brother got in here so easily after the 3rd Hokage's funeral, responded Sasuke. Once they were in the middle of the village, they took off their hoods just as 2 girls walked around a corner. That's just great, the 2 people I want to see first, exclaimed sarcastically Sasuke. Well, I don't think that there's a better distraction than those 2, said Clone, just as, if you don't know by now, Sakura and Ino spot them. Look, Naruto brought back Sasuke. Sakura and Ino yell as they run toward them. Once the girls get to them, Ino asked Naruto, where's Hinata? Didn't you leave to bring her back? I haven't found her yet, said the clone. Once I get my whole missing mean thing straightened out, I'll go find her. Just then Jiraiya's group got there with Kiba yelling, grab those traitors, Sakura, Ino. The girls were confused but grabbed them anyway and asked, what do you mean traitors? They're wearing Akatsuki cloaks. They ran from us as soon as we found out who they were and asked us where Itachi is so they could take him back to Akatsuki. That's why they're traitors, Kiba said and added, now where's Hinata? Well, do you think you can take them by themselves? The clone asked Sasuke. Yeah, at least to get away I can. I'll meet you at Ichiraku's, Sasuke said as the clone dispersed, a big word meaning he went poof. Meanwhile, with Naruto and Hinata just walking into Ichiraku's ramen stand. As they took off their hoods and sat down, Hinata stated, you would think that security would be tighter here after Itachi and Kisame walked in here after the 3rd Hokage's funeral. Naruto, what are you doing here? I thought you were a missing mean now, exclaimed Ayam. Well, after all the misunderstandings I had with everybody, I am now. But I need to ask you a question, and we'll be on our way, said Naruto. Well, I still trust you, so ask away, said Ayam. Do you know where Itachi is? We need to talk to him. Naruto said as the memories of the clone came to him. Sorry, but I won't tell you that because I know where those cloaks came from, and I won't let you take my boyfriend back with you. Ayam said as a clock struck 8, and Itachi came in to pick up Ayam. Well, I guess you don't have to answer that now that he's here, said Naruto as he turned to Itachi and added, we need to talk to you and your girlfriend, Itachi. So what do you want to talk about, said Itachi as he sat down. Naruto and Hinata explained everything to Itachi, Ayame, and Ichiraku. He came out of the back room once they started talking, from who they were since Itachi hadn't been in Hidden Leaf for 10 years, to the village deal that Naruto offered to Madara. About halfway in, Sasuke showed up after knocking out Kiba, Shino, Shikamaru, Ino, and Sakura. Jiraiya just let him go, and didn't once try to kill his brother. Once they were done, Naruto asked, we don't have much time till we have to leave. Will you come with us? It is Ayame's decision to make, said Itachi. From what Naruto and Hinata say, the new village depends on you going, Itachi. I say we go so that you won't be looked at as the murder of your clan. It will be a fresh start for you, Ayame said. Very well, we shall go then, responded Itachi. Good. Let's go, we'll get you new clothes and other thing once we get to where we're going. We don't have any more time to stay here, said Naruto. With that, everybody left for Akatsuki's base once again. In the Hokage's office the next day, all of Naruto's friends were there once again. Kiba, you and your big mouth. You know what you're jumping to conclusions? Did it cost us not only the heiress to the Hyuga, but the son of the 4th Hokage and my likely choice for the 6th Hokage, the last of the Uchiha clan, and the best ramen in all the hidden villages, said Tsunade. From now on, there will be no official missions to retrieve Naruto, Hinata, or Sasuke. If you run into them while on a mission, you are to either calmly ask them to come back or to avoid them completely. Everybody got that? Said Tsunade. Yes, ma'am, everybody said as they left the office. Once outside, Lee walked up to Sakura and asked her, would you like to get something to eat, my youthful Sakura? Sure, why not? Answered Sakura as they headed off together. At the same time, Ino walked up to Chuji and asked him, hey, Chuji, want to go get something from the barbecue restaurant with me? Okay, let's go, I'll even buy, responded Chuji. Chapter 8. The new village put on paper. 8 days later at Akatsuki's base. I see that you have brought Itachi back with you. Good, while you were away, we decided that we would agree with your village idea if you answer some questions for us, said Madara. Okay, ask away, responded Naruto. Well, since you already have the support of 2 Kages, the first question is, where are we going to put it? Asked Madara. We'll put it in Demon Country. I know a priestess of a small village that might join us, and we'll just turn that village into the hidden village, said Naruto. So why would the priestess even agree to join us? Asked Madara. I know Sasuke won't like it much, but she still needs an heiress, so I was going to set up an arranged marriage between her and Sasuke, said Naruto. Sasuke overheard this and said, wait, hold on there. Why would I agree to that? 1, she's good looking, 2, she's nice, 3, you'll never have to worry about fangirls again, and 4, she needs an heiress, so you'll get plenty of, well, you know, said Naruto with a big grin. No more fangirls. Okay, I'll do it, said Sasuke. Madara then continued the questions by asking, what is the purpose of the new village? For the most part, it will be just like any other hidden village, but its main purpose will be to use 9 demon containers to crush any attempt at starting a war, answered Naruto. Okay, so how are we going to get the 7 other containers? Questioned Madara. That I'm close to solving. I'm working on modifying my dad's jutsu, so it no longer costs the caster's soul, said Naruto. Good. I'm assuming that you wish to be the Kage, said Madara. Yes, I already know I have the support of the Akatsuki members from Hidden Leaf. I just need your approval. Very well, you will be the Kage. Now, what will be the name of the village? Asked Madara. I thought that Destiny might be a good name for it, said Naruto. All right, that is all my questions, and I accept your idea for a new hidden village, soon to be Destiny Kage, said Madara. Meanwhile, in Hidden Leaf on top of the Hokage's building. I have delayed this announcement long enough, so even though he is not here and may not return, I must get this out. I am ending the Third's law about Kyuubi now, said Tsunade, and continued before anyone could interrupt. 16 years ago, Kyuubi attacked. That same night, a boy was born to Minato and Kushina Namikaze. Kushina died, giving birth to their son, and Minato, whom most of you know as the 4th, took his son and sealed Kyuubi into him. Due to the way that Minato had to seal Kyuubi, it cost him his soul, thus leaving his son as an orphan. To protect Minato's son the third made a law stating that no one is to say anything about who Kyuubi was sealed in. But it didn't work the way it was supposed to. Not only was Minato's son not seen as a hero as his dad wanted, but parents still passed down their hatred of the boy to their children. This child I speak of is none other than Naruto Uzumaki, or should now be known as Naruto Namikaze, the son of Minato and Kushina Namikaze. As to why he had the last name of Uzumaki, it was his mother's maiden name that was used to protect him from his father's enemies. The crowd, including the Sand siblings who had been called to Hidden Leaf for the announcement, had mixed feelings. Some had seen the likeness and were only slightly surprised. Others were yelling that it had to be a lie. Some were glad that they never were bad to Naruto, but wished they had done something more for him. Some were surprised to the point that they fainted, while the rest of them, including Naruto's friends, were a combination of everything, though his friends didn't think it was a lie. Once the crowd settled down, they were sent home. On his way home, though, Shikamaru was dragged off by Temari for a date. 3 months later in Demon Country, Naruto just finished telling Cheyenne about his plan for the new hidden village. I like the idea since it will mean peace throughout the land and Demon Country will never have to pay another country to use their ninja, but I want to know what I get out of it, said Cheyenne. You'll get an heiress, stated Naruto. Huh. You got a girlfriend now, and I think she'll be mad if you help me with that, said Cheyenne. No, not me, Naruto said as he ran and grabbed Sasuke. He's going to marry you and help you with that. He is kind of cute, said Cheyenne. Well, he did have to beat his fangirls off with a hammer when he was 12, joked Naruto. Okay, you got yourself a deal, said Cheyenne as she signed the paper agreeing to the village and the marriage arrangement with Sasuke. With that, the village hidden in destiny was one step closer to reality, and Sasuke was the first of Naruto's friends to be engaged. Sasuke the whole time was thinking, woot, no more fangirls, take that, Sakura and Ino. Chapter 9. Academy Talks and More Leave. 2 months later in what will be hidden destiny with Naruto, Hinata, Sasuke, Cheyenne, and Itachi. Okay, well, we got everything stabilized after the change in leaders. Now we need to make this village into a ninja village, which means we still need an academy, interrogators, and more ninja in general. So what do we do to fix that, asked Naruto. What about asking Madara to give us some ninja to get Hidden Destiny started, stated Sasuke. Or make another trip to Hidden Leaf and grabbing Irika and Anko or someone from Hidden Sand, added Hinata. I don't want to ask Rain or Mist to weaken themselves to help us, and I don't want to steal anybody else from Leaf or Sand either, responded Naruto. So, what are we going to do then, asked Itachi. I'm not sure, but time will at least get us more ninja. We just need to find someone to teach them, said Naruto for now. Though I guess I need to assign your ranks. So what will they be, asked Sasuke. Well, I guess for now Hinata will still be a Chunin. Sasuke, you will be a Jounin, and Itachi will be an ANBU, and Cheyenne isn't a ninja, so she's just a priestess, said Naruto, and added, well, think about what to do to get enough teachers to get an academy going. We can worry about interrogators later, meeting adjourned. With that, everybody went home to think about how to get the academy going. Later that night, at the new Ichiraku's restaurant. Hey Dad, it's Hinata and Naruto, Ayam said as she winked at Naruto. Hey, the usual, right? Tucci said as he stepped out from the kitchen. Yep, Naruto said. The night was going the same as it had been for all their dates for the past 6 months. While almost, Naruto and Hinata still talked about old times and what they had did that day. But Hinata had noticed that Naruto had barely touched his ramen, and that never happened, so she asked him, What's wrong? You seem nervous about something? Well, I am, answered Naruto truthfully as he handed her a large box with a bow on it, and said, Here, open it. And that's what she did to find, well, another box, just a little smaller. And, for those who know what's to come, I so see Naruto doing something like this. Go on, open that one too, said Naruto, still nervous, but smiling now. So she did to find another box little smaller than the last. This continued 3 more times. Now Hinata was trying to be patient, but she was getting to where she couldn't stand it anymore, and said, So how many more are there? That's the last one, I promise, said Naruto as Hinata opened the box to reveal a small black box just big enough to hold. Well, you'll see. When Hinata pulled the small black box out of the last box, Naruto took it from her, opened it, got down on one knee, and asked, Hinata, will you marry me? She was so shocked that she did something she hadn't done since Naruto came back to Hidden Leaf more than a year ago, and that was faint, but not be for saying yes. Naruto caught her and slipped on the ring, then took her to her home to sleep. As he went to his home, he thought to himself, who knew something so good could come out of a bad misunderstanding? I'm going to be a Kage and married soon. And not even Niji coming here and acting all overprotective can change how good my life is now. The next day at Hokage's office. Hokage, this letter was just found outside a hot spring, a random ANBU said, handing her the letter. Tsunade read, Dear Tsunade, I just got some interesting news from my spies that I decided needed my attention personally with the help of a couple people and some eavesdroppers, and we will be leaving for an undetermined time period. It was originally going to be just Anko and Irika going with me, but while I was talking with them, I caught Niji and Tintin listening in. Since they will be useful, as well I decided that I would bring them too. Now don't worry about the academy with Irika gone. I think that Shikamaru or Sakura can take his place if you give them a chance. As to why and where we're going or what we're doing, I won't tell you, but don't worry, it's nothing deadly. Jiraiya. When she had finished reading, Tsunade had an ENBU go get Sakura, since Shikamaru was in Hidden Sand helping get the Chunin exams ready, for they were taking place there this time. Once Sakura got there, Tsunade said, I think it's time you took over for Irika. Why, he's a great teacher? Asked Sakura. Well, I think you're ready to teach, and Irika left on a journey with Jiraiya, and I don't know when he'll be back. So will you take over for him? Asked Tsunade. Sure, I think I can do that, said Sakura. Meanwhile, where Jiraiya, Anko, Irika, Niji, and Tintin? So, you guys are okay with going and helping Naruto and his new village? Said Jiraiya. Yes, I see Naruto as my little brother, so if I can help him I will. And Anko and I won't have to hide our relationship anymore, said Irika with Anko nodding in agreement. I think that we will find my cousin with Naruto, and I wish to continue my duty to guard her and to train any little ones that may come in the time to come, said Niji. And I wish to protect my boyfriend from being overprotective, said Tintin. Okay then, let's go, said Jiraiya. Chapter 10. Help arrives and blood is spilled. 1 week later, in what will be Hidden Destiny. As Jiraiya and the rest of the group walked in the gates of Hidden Destiny, Niji said, The village here in Demon doesn't look any different since the last time I was here. Well, that's because it just changed hands a couple of months ago, and my spies say that the village is called Hidden Destiny now, Jiraiya said. And they know that Naruto is in the village, but they don't know he's the Kage. Well, it doesn't look like much of a hidden village, said Anko. Well, if you remember, that is why I asked you to come. My spies say that they have a total of 4 ninja in the village, and that includes Naruto. They don't have an academy either, so we're going to help the Kage start one, replied Jiraiya. Let's find the Kage then, said Tintin. Just then 5 people showed up wearing black cloaks. The cloaks looked the same as Akatsuki's without the clouds, with one wearing a black Kage hat with a veil like the 4th Kazekage's. The one with the hat said, I'm the first Tenmikage, and I would like to know why you Leaf Nin are here in my village. Jiraiya started his dance, only to be hit in the back of the head by Anko, who said, We are here because we wish to help you with your village. We heard from reliable sources that you need teachers and interrogators. We just happen to be good at those things, and we have a friend here too. So you're looking to join just because your friend is here? Asked the Tenmikage. No. We're looking to join at least until you have enough teachers to run your academy, and we hope to make a treaty between your village and ours, said Jiraiya. I will take your help, but I'm not ready to make a treaty till my village is ready to be an official hidden village, and that won't be for at least 12 years. And I know for a fact that you were not sent here by the Hokage, said Tenmikage. Just then a ring on the person standing next to the Tenmikage caught the eye of Niji. It was a gold ring that looked like a fox with blue eyes and rabbit with white eyes chasing each other. Niji, now knowing that Naruto was the container for Kyuubi and thinking it was Shine, said demandingly, Who gave you that ring? It is very unique and reminds me of my friend. If you must know, my fiancé gave me this ring, said the one with the ring. And what is the name of your fiancé? Niji demanded. Niji, calm down, whispered Tintin. I am her fiancé. And if you are going to act like this, you will no longer be welcome here, said the Tenmikage as he stepped in front of the one with the ring. Niji was confused by this since he thought that only Naruto would buy a ring like that. I'm sorry, he is very protective of his cousin, and she like a guy that has a connection with foxes, said Tintin. That's when Jiraiya thought it was best to interrupt and said, if we are to work together, we should know who each other are. I will start. I'm Jiraiya, and this is Irika, Anko, Tintin, and Niji, pointing to each as he said their name. I wondered when you would ask that. I'm Naruto, the Tenmaikichi, my fiancé, Hinata, Sasuke and his fiancé, Cheyenne, and Itachi, said Naruto with a smirk as each removed their hood or hat in Naruto's case. Wait, I thought that Hinata had joined Akatsuki for a mission and Naruto went to find her. And then I heard from Kiba that they became traitors only to hear from Jiraiya that Naruto had joined a new village, said a very confused Tintin. I can straighten that out, said Naruto. The first part is true. Hinata did join Akatsuki for a mission and I went to find her. But they had found out about her mission and we learned some interesting things from them that we will tell you only if you defect to this village. But since they found out about the mission and with most people thinking like Kiba, that we were traitors, we were forced to really join. Also, Akatsuki is no more. We finished our mission to capture all the tailed demons, but I influenced the leader to make this village instead of what he had planned. So how come Akatsuki's leader isn't the Tenmaikichi? And what do you mean all the tailed demons we only know of 4 plus yours? Said Niji. The answers to those questions is part of the interesting things that we won't tell you till you defect from Hidden Leaf, said Naruto. But let's go get something to eat, we got a lot to catch up on, and you can meet Itachi's fiancé. So with that they all headed to Ichiraku's to eat and talk. About 3 weeks later in Hidden Sand. It's the final battle of the Chunin exams, and Konohamaru was facing off against a guy from Hidden Ring. Begin, shouted Kankuro, for he was the examiner for the final part of the Chunin exams. Now Konohamaru knew he was too low on chakra to fight his opponent directly, so he did the last thing anyone would think someone would do in the Chunin exams. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone technique, said Konohamaru as his opponent started to charge. But the next thing Konohamaru did made his opponent go in the opposite direction involuntarily. What he said was Oiroke, Ana no Ko Doshi no Jutsu, sexy, double knockout girls technique. It sent his opponent, and every guy, this included the no longer gay guys, who were at least by now, if not straight, at the exam flying backwards with a nosebleed. And, if I tried to describe this jutsu, I'd have to bump this story up to an M, so CCH 347 of Naruto for visual, warning it may cause you to have the same result. Luckily Kankuro came to before Tsunade made it down from the Kage box that she was watching the matches from, and he declared Konohamaru the winner as Konohamaru started to run as fast as he could toward the exit, but he wasn't fast enough and ended up getting beat like Jiraiya does when he gets caught peeping. Later that night at some random restaurant in Hidden Sand with Shikamaru and Temari. That last match had the most blood spilled ever in that arena, and no one died. How that kid came up with such a perverted jutsu, I don't know, said Temari. I know who taught him, but I haven't seen it used since I was in the academy, and that must have been an improved version, responded Shikamaru. Wait, you know who make that jutsu? Tell me so I can kill him, said Temari. Sorry, but I don't think your brother would approve of you killing one of his friends, said Shikamaru. Just then Gaara walked in and having heard the conversation said, Yes, you will not be killing Naruto. I should have known it was him, said Temari. How did you know Kazekage? Asked Shikamaru. He told me a while ago, and I thought I told you that you could call me Gaara, since I gave you permission to marry my sister, said Gaara. Wait, what was that, said Temari. Troublesome. May as well do it now, said Shikamaru as he pulled out a ring and asked, Temari, will you marry me? Of course I will. I've been waiting for you to get off your lazy butt and ask. Well, I guess you didn't even do that, responded Temari as Shikamaru put the ring on her hand. Now that that's over, I got a mission for you. Sister and Tsunade wants you to go to Shikamaru. There is a rumor in my spy network that a new hidden village is trying to start up in Demon Country, and we want you to look into it and help them if it is true. We want to be on their good side once they make it onto the map, said Gaara. Fine, we'll go. Right, dear, said Temari. Yes, ma'am, said Shikamaru as they left to get ready for the mission. Chapter 11. Promotions and other things. 1 week later in what will be Hidden Destiny. So this is the new hidden village. I wonder who the Kage is, said Shikamaru. Well, we do need to find them to see if and where they need help, said Temari. Just then a person in a black cloak walked up to them and said, state your business. We were sent by the Kazekage and Hokage to help your Kage start their new hidden village, said Shikamaru. Very well, follow me, but you'll have to wait, he's in a meeting with some new ninja, said the one in the cloak. Meanwhile, in the new Tenmaikage's office. So you're sure you want to join this village? You can still back out, said Naruto. No, Tintin and I are staying. She is my fiancée now, and I don't want my children to have the curse seal put on their heads, said Niji. Nor do I want my children to be treated like I was just because I was trained by that snake, said Anko. And I'm staying with my fiancée, said Irika. Wait, when did all of you get engaged? Asked Naruto. Irika and I asked them both last night, answered Niji. Well then, welcome to the engaged life, said Naruto. From what I hear, you're not staying in that club for too much longer, said Jiraiya, which is why I'm staying. You won't have all the time in the world for your kids, so the least I can do is help with their training. Well then, I guess I can tell you everything then, said Naruto. Just then Sasuke walked in the office and said, Shikamaru and Temari are here. Tsunade and Gaara sent them to help. Great. Does everybody know about this village? Thought Naruto, and said, give me a minute and I'll see them. Okay, said Sasuke as he went back out of the office. Well, I guess you'll have to wait a little longer to hear everything, said Naruto. No problem. Should we hide? Said Niji. No, they'll see you sometime anyway since I got to let them help, so might as well be now, answered Naruto as he put on his hat and cloak. As the 5 new ninja of Hidden Destiny left, Shikamaru and Temari walked in with Naruto, saying, have a seat. I hear you were sent by your Kages to help me start my hidden village. Yes, we were. So where can we help, Kage? Said Shikamaru. Well, right now we need help teaching at the academy that's starting soon. So are either of you good at teaching? Asked Naruto. Oh, I'm the Tenmaikage, and this village will be Hidden Destiny. We have both taught at our village academies. So yeah, I guess we are, said Temari. Well, you can help in the academy here too then, said Naruto. I do have a question for you, said Shikamaru. Well then, I'll answer if I can, said Naruto. Why did Jiraiya, Irika, Anko, Tintin, and Niji walk out of here? Asked Shikamaru. All I will tell you till you do the same is that they are now Destiny Nin, said Naruto. So you're saying that if we join Hidden Destiny, you tell us why they joined, said Shikamaru. Yes, that and many other things that you will find very interesting, for example, why I know your names are Shikamaru and Temari, said Naruto. Do we have to give you an answer now, said Temari. No, you can join whenever you like, said Naruto. Let us think about it, and we'll get back to you, said Temari as they left the office. Meanwhile, in the Hokage's office. You two were asked to come to my office today because you are to be promoted to Chunin, said Tsunade. Now where everybody agreed to yours, Hanabi. With that stunt you pulled at the last fight, you almost didn't make it, Konohamaru, but Kakashi was the deciding vote, so you made it too. All right, I made it to Chunin. One step closer to Hokage, yelled Konohamaru as he ran over and hugged Hanabi, and then ran out the door after grabbing his vest, not noticing that Hanabi had blushed. Without those two here, Konohamaru has taken over for Naruto as the hyper, loud, and unpredictable ninja, and Hanabi, while is not quiet and shy like her sister, she has fallen for the loud mouth of the village. Maybe it's a curse passed on by their mother. Even Hiraishin was loud when he was 12, thought Tsunade as she saw Hanabi's blush. 1 month later, in what will be Hidden Destiny. Naruto has told Jiraiya, Irika, Anko, Tintin, and Niji everything. But who has the 8-tailed rabbit? Since he want to keep that secret till they know if Shikamaru and Temari are joining too, because he only want to tell that once. So how do you think Naruto is doing as a Kage? Conan asked Pain. I think he's probably doing fine. See, it looks like he's even started building an academy, answered Pain as he pointed to a building being built. That's when they spotted Jiraiya near the spot for the academy. Hey, it's Pain. You checking up on the village? Asked Naruto as he noticed them walking toward Jiraiya. Yeah, so why is Sensei here? Asked Pain. He and a couple others defected here, and know you can kill him, said Naruto. I wasn't going to, but I know how you're still a bit of a prankster, so I got an idea for you, said Pain. With Jiraiya? As a kunai flies past Jiraiya's ear, he turns around ready to attack, only to see Pain right behind him. And Naruto laughing at him for not even noticing Pain was so close and making silly faces. And I can't have the bad guys always being serious. When Pain said, "So you know that I was one of the Kages to approve of this village, right?" "Yeah, and I'm staying," said Jiraiya. "Good. This village needs a teacher like you to help get it going," said Pain as he turned back to Naruto. "So everything going good here?" asked Pain. "Yep, everything's fine. The academy has plenty of teachers and should be finished in a couple of months. I'm close to finishing that jutsu. And you got my request right," said Naruto. "Good. And yes, I got it. And everything should be ready in a month. It will be interesting to have 5 Kages in one room to say the least," said Pain. "Well, see you then," said Naruto as Pain headed back to Rain. Chapter 11. Marriages and Kids. 1 month later, just outside Hidden Rain. While the triple wedding of Naruto and Hinata, Sasuke and Cheyenne, and Itachi and Ayam somehow went fine till the end. And, yes, I cheated again, but that's what time skips are for. If I did try to write the whole wedding, it would have probably been 2 chapters by itself. And I'm sure everybody has been to a wedding, so why waste 2 chapters to write one? Not to mention that it would have taken like a week to plan it out. There was all of the people from Leaf that Naruto knew, all the Hyugas, Gaara, Kankuro, all the remaining members of what used to be Akatsuki, and almost everyone from Destiny. It was the only time known to have 5 Kages that were all at one event. They had kept Sasuke's and Itachi's names off the invitations, and they had all wore their Akatsuki cloaks with the hoods up so that no one would know who the other 2 couples were, so no one tried to kill any of them. Kofkrasi Fangirl Skuk. When it reached the end, they went to kiss their brides, and the hoods fell off. Whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, since she might not have did it with him there, Lee was forced to go on a solo mission that day and had to miss the wedding. And when the hoods fell off, Sakura had a brief relapse of the disease known as fangirlitis. "Get away from my Sasuke," yelled Sakura as she ran to kill Cheyenne, only to be stopped by Conan's paper, which Kiba mistaken for an attack and threw a punch at Conan, only to be stopped by Pain. At this time, Sakura came back to her senses, but by then it was too late. There was sand, fists, and all sorts of jutsus flying around the field that they were using for the wedding. There might have even been a kitchen sink or 2 flying around. Luckily, the newlyweds had escaped before they got caught up in the fight, but Naruto saw enough to start laughing as he ran. "There's only one thing that could make today better," said Naruto as they were running from the fight. "What's that, dear?" asked Hinata. "That," answered Naruto, as it had just started to rain with the sun still shining. A little over a month later in Hidden Destiny. Both Hinata and Naruto were running through their house looking for each other, for they had big news. Once they found each other, they both said at the same time, "I have some good news." "Well, you go first." "No, you." "No, you." "Ladies first, so you go," said Naruto. "Fine. I just came back from the doctor's office," said Hinata. "I'm pregnant." "What? But how?" "Well, I know how, but," stammered Naruto as he remembered his news. "I guess my news isn't as good as it was now." "Why, what's your news?" asked Hinata. "Well, I fixed my dad's jutsu. I can seal a demon without dying, and I already sent a letter to Madara. I guess I need to send him another to tell him to get Shikaku ready to be sealed in 8 months, said Naruto. "I know that we have to seal the other demons, but why must Shikaku be first?" asked Hinata. "Even if we didn't have a kid till all but one demon was sealed, our kid would still get Shikaku, since I can't burden anyone else with the chance that the kid might end up like Gaara was," said Naruto, as he thought, "Now I'm positive that is why my dad sealed Kyuubi in me." "So our kid is going to be nuts like Gaara was before you beat him," said Hinata. "No, we're not going to treat our kid like Gaara was. We will love our kid, and I might even take him to see Gaara for some training," said Naruto. "Now back to what you said. How is it possible for you to be pregnant already?" "I can answer that. Just think about who is sealed in your mate for a second there, Kit," said Kyuubi. "What? Oh," thought Naruto to Kyuubi. "Wait, why haven't you said anything in a while?" "I haven't needed to say anything. And since I am talking, I might as well warn you that any kit you have with your mate has a very small chance of being a half-demon, and even smaller chance of being, well, if that happens, I want to see the look on your face, so I won't tell you that. Anyway, if you would have gone with that pink-haired vixen, you wouldn't have to worry about that. But you would have to worry about your sons looking like your mom with pink hair," said Kyuubi. Meanwhile with Lee and Sakura. HHCLSO sneezed Lee. You okay, Lee? Asked Sakura. I'm fine. Someone must be spreading unyouthful rumors about me, said Lee. Okay, well let's get back to picking what flowers we want at our wedding, said Sakura. Back with Naruto and Hinata. What? Yelled Naruto. What? What said Hinata, then it hit her. Oh, you were talking to QB. What did he say? He said that there is a very small chance of our kid being a half-demon or something else, but he wouldn't say what, said Naruto. Oh, said Hinata. I wonder why my demon doesn't talk to me. Haha, that a good one, she's as dense as you. Kid, no wonder you two are mates, said QB. What do you mean? Thought Naruto to QB. Has she even thought of who her demon is? Tell her to talk to her first. Remember, she's a timid rabbit. Did Hinata walk up to you and talk to you right away, said QB. QB says you should try talking to your demon first, said Naruto. Oh, I'll try that, said Hinata as she thought. Hello? Can you talk to me? Hello. Do you really want to talk to me? Asked Hachibi. And, since I'm calling QB, I'm going to call the eight-tail Hachibi. Yes, I do. And I would like to ask you if you're the reason I'm pregnant, thought Hinata to Hachibi. Well, to answer your question, not really, but I think I might make it easier for you to get pregnant, said Hachibi. Okay, that's all for now, thought Hinata to Hachibi. Hachibi sounds a whole lot nicer that you say QB is, said Hinata. Well, she is a rabbit, they're usually nicer than foxes, said Naruto. I'm getting hungry, you want to go to Ichiraka's? Asked Hinata. Sure, let's go, said Naruto as they left to go eat. Chapter 13. New Life and Jobs. 2 months later in the Hokage's office. Good the two of you are here, said Tsunade. Now you both know that we host the next Chunin exam, right? Yeah, why wouldn't we know about that, Bachan, said Konohamaru. Don't call me that. Anyway, I've decided that you two will take over for Shikamaru since he's on a long-term mission, said Tsunade. And it might be longer than she thinks, lol. Okay, said Hanabi. Oh, one more thing, Konohamaru, you're being promoted to Jounin, and Hanabi, you're a special Jounin. You're dismissed, said Tsunade. This resulted in Konohamaru running out of the office yelling for all to hear that he was a Jounin now, and Hanabi smiling at his antics. All the while Tsunade was thinking, let's see if Hanabi survives this long enough to tell Konohamaru that she likes him. About 7 months later at the hospital in Hidden Destiny. It's a boy, said the doctor. I promise I'll be back in a flash, said Naruto, taking his son, and in a yellow flash vanished. 5 minutes later at an undisclosed location, aka the old Akatsuki base that's just used to store the statue with the demons in it. Seal, shouted Naruto as he finished sealing Shikaku and his son, and said, 1 down 6 to go, Madara. Yes, I know I'm still not sure about using the demons this way, but I trust you not to try to undermine our deal, said Madara. I won't now, I need to get my son back. So see you in about a month for your great granddaughter's sealing, said Naruto as he once again vanished in a yellow flash. And this might or might not be true, it's not said if Madara had any kids, but with Itachi being heir, he was the heir, right? To the Uchihas it makes sense. Back at the hospital. We're back, said Naruto as he handed his son to Hinata. Did everything go all right? Asked Hinata. Just fine. He didn't even cry, answered Naruto. That just means he's not like you or your mom, said Sasuke as he walked in the room with a very pregnant Cheyenne, and the rest of the gang followed shortly after. Just give him time, he'll be driving you nuts just like me in no time, said Naruto. Just then a nurse interrupted saying, I need to do a checkup on your son to make sure he's okay and the seal is stable, but before that you still need to do something important. What's that? Asked Naruto. You still need to name him, stated the nurse. What? You still haven't given him a name, said everybody to Naruto and Hinata. Well, I was busy with the sealing and forgot, said Naruto. So how about Minato? I think that would be a great name, said Hinata, already knowing that he would want his son named after his dad. I think it should be Jinata, since he has those dark spots around his eyes like Gaara, said Sasuke. Since Minato looked just like Naruto, but with Gaara's eye markings instead of whiskers and the eyes of a Hyuga. And Jinata combo of Gaara, Minato, and Hinata. Shut up, Sasuke, everybody said. Don't let him name your daughter, whispered Naruto to Cheyenne, who chuckled. Okay, so his name is Minato Uzumaki Namikaze then? Asked the nurse. Yes, since when I got married I took back my dad's last name, answered Naruto. I'll return little Minato shortly, said the nurse as he walked out of the room. 6 years later on top of the Hokage's building. Tsunade is standing in front of the entire village population and says, I know this might be a little soon for most of you, but I think it is time. As you know, for the past 3 years I have been training Kinomaru Sarutobi in the duties of the Hokage, and I think he is ready. So without further delay I announce my retirement and give you the 6th Hokage, Kinomaru Sarutobi. There was cheering all through the crowd as Kinomaru put on the hat of the Hokage. Once things settled down, Kinomaru spoke. Thank you, but I should not be here today. Naruto deserved this more than me. But he was forced to leave this village about 8 years ago, and he has not been heard from since his wedding about 7 years ago. So all I can say is that I wish him well wherever he is, and I humbly accept the title of Hokage. With that said, he wrapped his arm around his wife of 2 months, Hanabi, and they looked out over the crowd, see and hear everyone cheering for him. Meanwhile, in Hidden Destiny. Hey Dad, so I get to go to the Ninja Academy in 2 years, right? Asked Minato. Yeah, you do, but first you're going to go with me to see an old friend of mine who held your demon before you for some training on how to control your sand better, said Naruto. Is Mom, Zabuza, Haku, and Kushina coming too? Asked Minato. Yes, they are. I might see if Itachi will let Obito, Sasuke will let Mikoto, Iruka will let his kid, and Niji will let his kid come too, so they can who held Shikako before you, said Naruto. You know we can't watch all their kids and ours at the same time, right? Stated Hinata as she walked up to them with Kushina in her arms. Yeah, but I want all of them to see Gaara, said Naruto. Well, why don't we let Temari in on who we are, and she can probably get Gaara to come here instead, said Hinata. And, yes, they have kept Shikamaru and Temari in the dark about who they are up till now. Well, it's not a bad idea, but I'll have to think about it. I don't want this village to be Noah for 6 more years, said Naruto. Chapter 14. School. The next day in Hidden Destiny. You called for us, Tenmaikage, said Shikamaru as he and Temari walked into Naruto's office. Yes, I did, said Naruto. I wanted to ask you too if you have decided to stay here or return to your villages when your mission is over. We haven't decided yet. We heard rumors that there are demons hidden here, and we're not sure if we want to stay here if it's true, said Temari. Well, I can tell you it's not true. Any demon that may or may not be in this village is sealed safely away, said Naruto. Wait, that means another rumor is true, that Naruto lives in this village, stated Shikamaru. Yes, Naruto does live in this village, but he keeps mostly to himself. But you have probably seen some of his kids running around, said Naruto. But why would Naruto not want to see us? Asked Shikamaru. He doesn't want people to know that he's in this village, so he will only show himself to civilians and ninja that have citizenship with this village, answered Naruto. So this all goes back to what you said when we first got here then, said Shikamaru. Yes, so do you wish to join now, or wait some more? Asked Naruto. Temari and Shikamaru whispered back and forth for a minute, and then Temari said, We will join if you meet our 2 conditions. 1, you take us to see Naruto. 2, you talk with my brother the Kazekage about a peace treaty. Accept those conditions, but I will only talk to the Kazekage. I will not sign anything for 6 more years, said Naruto. That will work. We'll join then. So when can we see Naruto, said Temari. Let me start by saying welcome to Hidden Destiny. And as for when you can see Naruto, said Naruto as he removed his hat. You've got to be kidding me, said Temari. While Shikamaru said, I should have known it was you. Naruto then told them everything and asked Temari, so when can Gaara come here to meet me? I'd like to ask him if he can train Minato too. I think he can come in a month, said Temari. Good. Come with me, I'll take you to see my family, said Naruto as they left the office. 1 month later in Hidden Destiny. Hey Gaara, how's it going in Hidden Sand? Asked Naruto once he and Gaara were in Naruto's office. Just fine. So my sister decided to move here, said Gaara. Yep. I wanted to ask you if you could train my son. I know Temari told you why, said Naruto. Yeah, you sealed Shikaku in him. There's not much I can train him in, so I think if I stay a week he'll just have to work on his own to perfect the jutsus, said Gaara. Okay, well I'll show you around, and then you can see everybody, said Naruto. Once the tour of the village was over, Naruto took Gaara to where all of their friends were to show off the kids. And I'm having a really hard time writing this part, so I'm skipping the meeting, just imagine it, sorry. 2 years later, Hidden Destinies Academy. WOD. I finally get to learn how to be a ninja, yelled Minato. Be quiet, Minato, said Mikoto. We better find some seats, said Obito. They found 3 seats next to each other, just as Iruka and his Genin assistant walked in with Iruka saying, "Okay, everybody sit down, class is starting." Well, look like this will be an interesting year. The first group of demon hosts are in this class, thought the assistant as he saw a boy with blonde hair and the eyes of a Hyuga, but had a hint of purple in them, a girl with blonde hair and black eyes, and a boy with almost black, but still brown hair and black eyes. Okay, class, to start off, do any of you know what a jutsu is? Asked Iruka to start the class. Class continued with Iruka asking questions to see where everyone might rank in the class. Once he dismissed the class, he started laughing out loud until the assistant asked, "What's so funny?" It's just that not only does Minato look just like his dad, other than his eyes, but it looks like he's trying to match his dad's grades too, said Iruka, still laughing. 4 years later, in what will be officially Hidden Destiny in a couple of months. School continued almost the same as the first day, as far as class placement, other than Minato moved to the middle of the class instead of dead last. Okay, class, today is your graduation exam, so listen for me to call your name, said Iruka. Of course, Obito and Mikoto passed with flying colors, but then Minato called out Iruka. A few moments later, "Okay, Minato, I need you to do a hinge and bunshin with 2 clones to pass," said Iruka. "Okay," said Minato. "Kage bunshin no jutsu, shadow clone technique. Hinge. You know what comes next, lol." Luckily, Minato was the last to take the exam, since both Iruka and his assistant were knocked out with a nosebleed. Once they came to, Iruka told the class that the ones that passed need to come back next week to find out who is on their team and who was their jounin they would be paired with. Later at Naruto's house. "So, son, did you pass?" asked Naruto. "Yep, I even did what you told me to do for the exam," said Minato. "What did your dad tell you to do?" asked Hinata. "He taught me his Harimu no Jutsu, harem technique, and said that I should use it to pass my exam," answered Minato as Naruto started to run for the door. "Naruto!" yelled Hinata as she ran after him. Chapter 15. Hokage meet Tenmaikichi. A couple months later in the Hokage's office. "Hokage, sir, how come there are 10 teams from Hidden Destiny signed up for the Chunin exam?" asked Moegi. "We're old teammates, you don't have to call me Hokage. Konohamaru is fine. And as for why they have so many teams in the Chunin exam, is because they are a new village and used the rule stating that they can have up to 10 teams in the first Chunin exam, that they're officially a new village," said Konohamaru. Just then Hanabi opened the door and said, "Hidden Destiny just arrived, dear." "Well, let's go meet them then," said Konohamaru as he grabbed his cloak, hat, and his wife's hand. He headed out to meet with the Kage of the new hidden village. Couple minutes later at the gate. "I don't see the Kage," said Hanabi, just as a group of 5 people in black cloaks with red marks on them, for with hoods, and one with a black Kage hat with a black veil came into view. "That must be the Kage there in the hat," said Konohamaru. As the group got closer, Konohamaru and Hanabi noticed that the cloaks each looked different. The Kages had fox footprints on it, while the person next to him, who was clearly a woman, had rabbit footprints, and the 3 people in front of them had bird, weasel, and the last had rabbit and fox footprints on theirs. But the odd thing was the one with the rabbit and fox cloak had what looked like a gourd on their back. Once the group got close enough, Konohamaru said, "Welcome to Hidden Leaf. I'm the Hokage of this village. And you are?" "I'm glad that the Hokage has taken the time to meet me at the gate. I'm the Tenmaikichi of Hidden Destiny," said the Tenmaikichi, and while gesturing to them added, "And this is my wife and our team." "Welcome to you as well," said Konohamaru as he gestured to his wife, and said, "And this is my wife." When Konohamaru said that the one with the rabbit cloak let what you slip out, but quickly covered her mouth before any more got out. But that was enough to get the Tenmaikichi laughing, resulting in Konohamaru asking, "What's so funny?" "I just never thought you would copy me to the point you would marry her," said the Tenmaikichi. "What, I never copied anybody," said Konohamaru. "Yes, you did. You copied me ever since I taught you that one jutsu that I won't say the name of on the grounds that my wife might kill me, said the Tenmaikichi. Konohamaru thought for a moment, then realized that there was only one jutsu that he was taught that would make somebody want to kill the caster for using, and said questionably, boss. Yep, but you better not call me that anymore, or it will look bad on your part, brother, said Naruto as he and the rest of his group revealed themselves. Hello, sister, said Hinata. Hello, said Hanabi. Well, let me introduce my team. Since Minato here is your nephew, said Naruto, and the other two are Obito, Itachi's son, and Mikoto, Sasuke's daughter. Naruto then said to the kids, and this is Konohamaru and his wife Hanabi, your aunt and uncle to you, Minato. So where are Sasuke and Itachi? Asked Konohamaru. Itachi taking care of the paperwork while I'm here, and Sasuke is with his team that he thought wasn't ready yet for the exam, while their wives are watching Minato's other 3 siblings, since they're in the academy, said Naruto. You have 4 kids. Wow, said Hanabi. All we have is little Hayatari. Sakura is watching him right now. And, just to let you know, I don't know anything about Japanese names, so I'm guessing that Hayatari would be the male equivalent to Hinata, though I think I've heard Hayatari used in some other anime, I just can't remember which. Before I forget, you 3 better get going. The Chunin exam starts in 3 hours, and I want you there early, said Naruto. Okay, Dad, bye, said Minato as he and his team walked off. Just then Sakura, Lee, and a 5-year-old boy walked up with Sakura saying, Hey, Naruto, what are you doing here? My son's team is in the Chunin exam, that's why, answered Naruto. Sorry, Naruto, but your son can't beat the youthfulness of my son's team, said Lee. We'll just have to see about that now, won't we, said Naruto. Yes, we will, said Lee. Hey, why don't we get the whole gang back together since we haven't seen each other in 13 years, said Sakura. And, yes, it has been that long, no one but Gaara has seen anyone in Hidden Destiny since Naruto and the gang got married. Well, a lot of people from my village are coming to see the finals, so how about then? Asked Naruto. Sounds good. Wait, your village? I thought you were in Akatsuki, said Sakura. Nope, Akatsuki has been gone for a long time now. I'm the Kaguya of Hidden Destiny now, said Naruto. Hidden Destiny? Never heard of that village, said Lee. That's because we are just now an official hidden village, said Naruto. Well, we were headed to the Jounin waiting area to wait for the results of the first test. You want to come with us, Naruto? Asked Sakura. We'll be there later. We still need to find our hotel, so bye, said Hinata, as everybody went their separate ways. Later that same day at Hidden Leaf's Academy. So do you think that anybody has a chance at beating us? Asked Minato. Nope, said Mikoto. They got no chance at all. Our team has the 3 greatest bloodlines plus our little friends. I don't even think that weird-looking girl over there stands a chance, said Obito, as they spot someone with pink hair in a bowl cut and fuzzy eyebrows. I think that is a guy there, Obito, said Minato. Sure enough, it was a guy, Lee and Sakura's son to be exact. Just then you know who walked in and said, All right, find your assigned seat, sit in it, and shut up. The first exam. The Jounin waiting area. You know that room that Kakashi, Asuma, and Kurenai waited in and talked about their teams. So how do you think that your teams will do, Naruto? Asked Sakura. And Naruto is here because Hinata and he are both the sensei of their team. They'll be fine in the first exam. Most of them have been Chunin for over 5 years waiting for their first chance at the Chunin exam. So book-wise they're Chunin, said Naruto. They've been waiting for over 5 years, why? Asked Lee. Hidden Destiny wasn't ready to be known yet, so they had to wait till it could be a real hidden village before they could take the exam. And we don't have any Chunin in the village because of how few ninja we had to start out with, said Naruto. You have no Chunin, how is that possible? Asked Sakura. The village started out with 11 ninja, 1 Kage, 3 Jounin, and I see A and BU and things like that as titles for Jounin, not ranks. And he doesn't want them to know Jiraiya is there, a special Jounin, and 6 Chunin. They are all Jounin now, and I could only get the minimum number of C rank missions, but nothing higher, so I don't expect many getting many Chunin out of this year, said Naruto. Okay, so who do you think will make Chunin then? Asked Lee. If they make it past the first exam, I have no doubt that my team will make it. I'm not sure about the rest, said Naruto. So only 3 people out of 30 from your village will make Chunin, said Sakura. Probably. So do you think your team will make it, Lee? Asked Naruto. I think their youthfulness will get them to Chunin with no problems, said Lee. So who is on your team, Lee? Asked Hinata. Ichigo, my son, Choi, the son of Chuji and Ino, and Ino Kazuna his twin sister, answered Lee. Ichigo, said Naruto while raising an eyebrow questionably. Yes, he got my hair and eye color, but he had to get his dad's quirks too, said Sakura, and of course Naruto, and even Hinata started laughing when Sakura said this. What's so funny about that, said Lee. Sorry, it's just that someone said that if I had ended up with Sakura our sons could have ended up looking like my mom. That all, said Naruto once he finally stopped laughing. Tsunade found a couple of pictures of your mom. She is very beautiful, said Lee. That got Naruto and Hinata laughing again and even got a chuckle from Sakura. Meanwhile at the exam room, while the laughing fits were going on. After Ibiki said the rules, everyone started. Okay, first question is, if a ninja jumps into the air and throws a kunai, how tall is the ninja he threw the kunai at? What kind of question is that? It doesn't make any sense, thought Minato. Number 29 failed, teammates 69 and 10 get going, you failed to, said Ibiki. Oh, that's it, thought Minato as he whispered, Byakugan. He started copying a nearby paper. I wonder if Minato has it figured out yet, thought Mikoto and Obito with their Sharingan activated. Back in the Jounin waiting area. Now that the laughing is done, I was wondering how many kids you two had, asked Sakura. 4, but why did you ask that out of the blue, said Hinata. Ino bet me that she had the most kids, that's why. But Kurenai won. She said that you would, said Sakura. Only you and Ino would make bets about that, stated Naruto. So what are their names? Asked Sakura. Well, Minato is here with his team. Zabuza and Haku just finished their 3rd year of the academy, and Kushina just finished her 1st year. Not very original names, said Sakura. No, but they're named after family and friends and not their hair color, said Naruto, and thought, though there was other factors involved for Zabuza and Haku as well. Touché. Well, we'll know soon who passed the 1st exam, said Sakura. Back at the exam room. Time for the 10th question, but you have to choose first if you want to answer it, said Ibiki. Why, shouted a random Rocknin. If you chose to answer and get the 10th question wrong, you fail and can never take the Chunin exams again, said Ibiki. But you can't do that, said that same Rocknin. Well, you just picked the wrong time to take the exam, said Ibiki, and added, you have 10 minutes to decide. As the time went on, many teams dropped out, but none of the teams from Destiny dropped out. Minato just sat there bored and was thinking Anko is scarier than this guy, sure he's better at mind games. But after having Anko show some of her integration tactics in class, this guy's nothing. In fact, that was what everybody from Destiny was thinking. It was about a minute left when a blonde-haired girl from Leaf started to lift her hand. Shoot, Dad said to make sure that at least one team from Leaf made it to the second part. So I guess I need to act, thought Minato as he started to stand up and raised his hand just to slam it on the desk, shouting, lay off the lame scare tactics, and our integrator is scarier than you. Then thought, I hope he didn't catch that. Dad said not to mention anyone from Destiny. Though the words were different, the reaction was the same, and no one after that left. Once the minute was up, Ibiki said, since no one else wants to leave, the final question is, you all pass, and thought, I haven't seen this since 18 years ago when a kid that looked like him did the same thing. Wait, the only things different are his eyes and the lack of whisker marks. So this is Naruto's kid. Ibiki broke that train of thoughts, and everything after followed the same till. Okay, brats, let go, follow me to training grounds 44, said a kid not much older than Minato with brown hair and red eyes, as he walked in the door, and added, you let too many pass, Ibiki. Wait, you're our next examiner, but you not much older than us, said some random Sannin. I may only be 15, but unlike you, I'm a special Jounin. Now get moving, or I'll go ahead and fail you. But it probably won't matter, I plan of getting rid of about 2/3 of you, so get moving, said the kid as everyone ran out the door. At the end of the first part, there was only one team from Sand, Rock, Cloud, and Leaf, but all 10 teams from Demon were left, meaning that there was 48 ninja left. The second exam. Training Grounds 44. Alright, now that we're here, I'll tell you the rules and objectives for the second exam. 1. You can kill. 2. You will receive a scroll, and it will be your job to, as a team, to get 2 more scrolls. One that is the same as yours, and the other is to be the other scroll. So let's say you receive a heaven scroll, you will need to get not only another heaven, but an earth scroll as well. 3. You will take your 3 scroll and go to the tower in the center of the testing area that I like to call the Forest of Death, for you will not look at your scrolls till you arrive at the tower. 5. You have 5 days to make it to the tower or you fail, said the examiner as he looked behind he and added, "Is that everything, Mom?" "Yes, but you were told to call me Kurenai while the exam is going on, Junior," said Kurenai, who was sitting next to Kakashi at a table with a curtain. "And I thought I asked you to call me Indiana," said the examiner. "And I told you that I wouldn't call you that. Your name is Asuma Saratobi Jr. I am not going to call you a name of character from a movie who named himself after his dog. Now get back to explaining the exam," said Kurenai. "Fine, but there isn't much left but to say. But take one of these release forms, sign it, and turn them in over there at the table, and you'll get your scroll. Then go to your assigned gate and wait for my signal to start," said Asuma. With that, everyone grabbed a form, signed it, and went to their gate. Once everyone had done that, Kakashi asked Kurenai, "So you want to go get something to eat now that our job is done?" "No way. You're just an old pervert like Jiraiya, plus that blonde kid looked like Naruto. So I want to go find out who he is," responded Kurenai. "With Naruto and Hinata's team." "So you remember the plan, right?" asked Mikoto. "Yes, leave the teams from Rock, Cloud, Sand, and Leaf alone, and if attacked by any of them, run from Sand and Leaf, but we can attack back if it's Rock or Cloud," said Minato. "Well, I guess that means we won't be fighting, since as soon as we find a team from our village, they'll just give us their scroll, since that is part of their plans," said Obito. "Well, after what Dad said to me about what Cloud did to Mom and how Rock tried to kill Grandpa in that war, I hope they attack, so I can teach them not to mess with my family," said Minato as the gate opened and they ran in. A little while later, Minato stopped, saying, "Wait, someone is coming." Just then, the teams from Rock and Cloud showed up with one of the Cloud Nines saying, "Look what we have here, some of the little wimps from Destiny, and one is somehow a Hyuga. Yeah, and he also looks like he could be related to that Hokage that gave us all that trouble in the war," said a Rock Nine. "Let's have some fun and kill them," said another Rock Nine. "I got this one," said Minato, and added, "Maybe they'll have the scrolls we need too." "Huh? You think you can take on the 6 of us by yourself? We will crush you before you can blink," said a Cloud Nine. "Too bad I move faster than I blink," said Minato, activating his Byakugan and throwing 6 kunai. "Haha, you got some bad aim there, kid. You didn't even get close to any of us," said a Cloud Nine, but the Rock Nine were getting a little nervous. "I hit right where I was aiming," said Minato as he did some hand signs, and then dropped into the stance for 8 trigrams 128 palms and disappeared in a yellow flash, while saying flying 128 palms. The Rock Nine and Cloud Nine didn't stand a chance. They didn't even see him coming, but you could hear him briefly counting off his strikes. When he was done, all the Rock Nine and Cloud Nine were knocked out from having all their chakra points closed. He then checked them for their scrolls, finding that they had the other 2 scrolls they need. Minato said, "All right, we got the scrolls." "Good. Now we just need to get to the tower now," said Mikoto. "Dad and Mom should be watching from the tower, so that will be easy. Just grab on, and we'll be there in a flash. We'll even beat Gaara's time," said Minato as Mikoto and Obito grabbed on, and they disappeared in a yellow flash. At the tower in the Forest of Death, Naruto and Hinata were watching their team, mostly their son. What Naruto realized what his son was going to do and said, "Hinata, throw down that kunai quick," as Naruto threw down the one that he had that was his son's too. Just then Minato, Obito, and Mikoto appeared on the kunai that Hinata had thrown. "The room is down the hall to the left," said Naruto, knowing where his team needs to go. "See you soon, Dad," said Minato as he and his teammates ran to the room to open the scrolls. Once they got there, they opened the scrolls, and in a puff of smoke, Udon appeared and said, "Good job, you made it though the second exam." Then he looked at his watch and passed out, for it took them only 1 hour to finish the exam. 5 days later at the tower in the Forest of Death. "Congratulations to all that have passed now," said Konohamaru, only to be interrupted. "There is too many for the youthful finals to start," said Guy, the examiner for the 3rd exam. "Guy, you're too early, and shut up about youth," said Konohamaru. "Sorry, Hokage, sir," said Guy. Then he continued, "Because there's too many of you, there has to be preliminary matches, but I need to ask this first. Is there anyone who wishes to drop out?" Oddly, there was 5 teams left, 4 from Destiny, one being Minato and his teammates, and Lee's team. But when Guy asked if anyone wanted to drop out, 9 people dropped out, all thinking the same thing. I don't want to face Minato or his teammates. I don't stand a chance with the sons and daughter of the Tenmaikage and Uchihas, not to mention their demons. Okay, well that solves that. I guess that means that I just need you pick a number, and you'll see who you fight your first match against in the finals, since it's just you 6 now, said Guy. Once everyone had a number, they read them off to Guy. 3, said Minato. 5, said Obito. 1, said Makoto. 2, said Ichigo. 4, said Choi. 6, said Inokazuna. Okay, fights are 1 and 2, 3 and 5, and 4 and 6. You will have 1 month to relax and to train. Dismissed, said Guy as they all left to do just that. The start of the 3rd exam. One day before the final exam at the gates of Hidden Leaf. It's been a long time, hasn't it, Itachi, said Sasuke. Yeah, it has, Sasuke, said Itachi, then added, everybody, we better get to the Hokage's office, as a large group headed off. At the Hokage's office. So everything go okay back home, Itachi? Asked Naruto. Everything's fine. So did my son make it to the finals? Said Itachi. Yep, we kicked, but, said Obito. We? I'm the only one who fought anyone, stated Minato. Fine, Minato kicked, but I'm going to kick his in our match, said Obito. Wait, who are all these people? Konohamaru asked Kakashi, for everybody from Destiny was wearing black cloaks with hoods. Naruto had his Kage hat on. Then he added, and why do you all have names that are either famous or infamous here in Hidden Leaf? Oh, we forgot to introduce ourselves. I'm the first Tenmaikage, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto went on to introduce all the kids and reintroduce the rest, even Jiraiya, to all the whole gang. That's everybody from Lee to Sunday. To said that everybody from Leaf was surprised would be an understatement. Sakura was the first to get over the shock of everyone, and then some. Being back in Leaf and having spotted Kushina, let out a "she's so cute" and grabbed the oddball of the Namikaze family in a hug. Once Sakura let go, she asked Hinata, how did she get her red hair? All our boys have blonde. We're not sure, it must have slipped in from Naruto's mom, said Hinata. She's the oddball of the family, said Sasuke. Hey, just because I don't have AD, snapped Kushina till Hinata covered her mouth. You were told not to talk about that, remember? Whispered Hinata to Kushina. She doesn't have a what? Asked Shino. A blonde hair on her head, said Hinata, hoping that no one would push the matter. So did you know that my youthful son is fighting your daughter? Sasuke asked Lee. Yes, Naruto sent a letter to Itachi saying what had happened so far in the exams, said Sasuke. Well, my son will win with his youthfulness, said Lee. You said it, Dad, added Ichigo. Oh great, there's another one, muttered Sasuke, with everyone nodding in agreement. Well, it's getting late, and we need to check into our hotel, so see you tomorrow, said Cheyenne. Okay, see you tomorrow, said everybody as everybody but Konohamaru and Tsunade walked out of the office. So why didn't you say anything, Tsunade? Asked Konohamaru. What could I have said? I was speechless like just about everyone else, but I might talk to him in private to ask him about his village, but you need to come with me so you can make an alliance with him, said Tsunade. Of course Leaf will have an alliance with Destiny. He looks to be as good of leader as Grandpa. He a friend I used to call boss. His village is strong. And he's my brother though marriage, so why wouldn't I, said Konohamaru. At Lee and Sakura's home. I don't want to fight Makoto, she's too pretty to fight, Ichigo said. Well, you should tell her then, said Lee as his son ran off before Sakura could stop him. You know that was dumb. Makoto isn't me. She's probably like her father and will take that as an insult, said Sakura. The next day at the arena, the finals were about to start, and Naruto, Konohamaru, and Gaara were up in the Kage box with everyone else in the stands nearby when Udon showed up on the ground and said, Examines come to the center of the arena, so we can start. Once the 6 of them got to the center, Konohamaru stood up and said, Congratulations on making it this far, and good luck in the matches ahead. Okay, Ichigo and Makoto stay here, the rest go to the examinee box, said Udon. Once everyone was where they should be, he said, Begin. I do not wish to fight you. Please give up, for I do not wish to hurt such a lovely and youthful flower, said Ichigo. What? No way am I giving up. You can't hurt me. If anyone gives up, it will be you, said Makoto. I will give up if you go on a date with me, said Ichigo. No way. One, you're not my type. Two, I'm taken, said Mikoto. If you are taken, then I must prove that I'm more youthful than him, and then you'll be mine, said Ichigo. Now listen here, I don't like you. And it's an arranged marriage that my mother set up before I was even born. So shut up and fight me, or give up, said Mikoto, getting angrier every second she talked with Ichigo, to the point her Sharingan activated on its own. If I'll fight you if I must, said Ichigo as he started to run at Mikoto. Kitan, Gakakyu no Jutsu, fire release. Great fireball technique, said Mikoto, spitting a large ball of fire at Ichigo that he easily dodged, and engaged in taijutsu with Mikoto, who easily kept up with Ichigo, but neither could land a hit on the other. That was until Ichigo added chakra to his fist like his mom and blew Mikoto back, but she quickly recovered and said Kitan, Hozenka no Jutsu, fire release, Phoenix immortal fire technique, and chased Ichigo around with a bunch of fireballs, which he dodged all, but the last one of that one hit and burned him a little. While he was distracted by the burn, Mikoto ran up behind him and held a kunai to his neck. Ichigo promptly said, I give up, thus ending the first match with Udon saying, winner Mikoto Uchiha. The audience was shocked that most haven't even heard that name since the massacre, but were snapped out of those thoughts by Udon saying, next examines come down now. The end of the third exam. Same place and time as last chapter. Begin, shouted Udon. Hey Obito, we both know that if we just fight we'll destroy this arena and not get anywhere, so how about we just try to hit each other with our best jutsu? And if it's a draw then we both give up and call it a tie, said Minato. That's not a bad idea. With my ultimate defense and your two ultimate defenses, we would likely kill someone watching before even hurting each other. So let's go for it, said Obito. And, yes, Obito would have won. The three-tail is a turtle after all. I'm ready when you are, said Minato with his hand in a kunai pouch. Okay, but you won't stand a chance. I'm too fast for you to throw one of your kunai, said Obito as he flashed some hand signs for what looked like a Chidori, but when it started to charge there was a ball of fire in the middle of it. Blazing Chidori, shouted Obito as he shot at Minato, but when Obito thrust his hand out through Minato's sand defense, he didn't hit anything but air, and with Obito distracted by the sand, Minato's Hiraishin took him right behind Obito, and he knocked Obito out. Winner Minato Uzumaki Namikaze, shouted Udon, and added, will Choi and Inokazuna come down? Once back in the stands, Mikoto said, good job using that speech to distract him while you threw one of your kunai down. Yeah, but at least I didn't tell anyone about our arranged marriage, said Minato. Hey now, I didn't say who it was with, and that was a compliment I gave you, said Mikoto. Well, it is hard to tell with you sometimes, said Minato. Just shut up, will you? The next match is about to start, said Mikoto. Once again, the audience was pulled out of their thoughts by Udon's shout of begin and the start of the next match. Sister, you should just give up. You don't stand a chance fighting me. You don't even use dad's jutsu, said Choi. Hey, just because I don't want to be fat doesn't mean you can beat me. So bring it, shouted Inokazuna. Fine, Baika no jutsu, multi-size technique, said Choi as he simply ran over his sister. Winner Choi Akimichi, said Udon, and then added, we will have a 10-minute break, then drawing to see who gets the bye to the final match. Up in the Kage box. So do all your kids know Hiraishin Naruto? Asked Konohamaru. So far only Minato knows it. I won't teach them it till they're Genin, said Naruto. So now that we have time to talk, how about we work out an alliance, said Konohamaru. Sorry, but my village will have no alliances at all. We will trade, but that's it, said Naruto. Why not even with you home village, Naruto, said Konohamaru. My village had one alliance, but that one ended with the death of the Mizukage last year. We are now staying neutral, and as long as you don't start a war you will have nothing to fear from my village, said Naruto. Wait, why did you have an alliance with the Mizukage but won't make a new one with us? Asked Konohamaru. My village is too powerful to align with anyone. I want to prevent wars, not start them by someone wanting power. The Mizukage was bad enough. I'm glad he died of old age before destiny was ready, said Naruto. And Madara would be about 100, so it's possible. And it would be funny for the head of Akatsuki to die of old age. Well, at least to me it would be. Too powerful? Questioned Konohamaru. It is a village secret that I hope that Hidden Leaf never finds out, stated Naruto. Back on the field. Okay, everyone pick a card from my hand, and if you get the red one you won't fight until the finals, said Udon. So the three of them grabbed a card. Okay, who has it? Asked Udon. I do, said Choi. Okay, you go back and Minato and Mikoto stay here to fight, said Udon. As that was said, Minato looked up to his dad and saw him shake his head. So Minato said, I give up. Okay, well I guess we'll skip to the final match then, said Udon, and then he yelled to the crowd, Minato has dropped out, so we will move to the final match of Mikoto Uchiha and Choi Akimichi. Begin, shouted Udon. Now I'm glad that sensei taught me how to fight a Sharingan. Boy did that seem stupid at the time, thought Choi as he threw a smoke bomb down. Shoot, where did he go, thought Mikoto just as she heard. Dynamic entry, shouted Choi as he flew through the air at Mikoto, but with cat-like reflexes, she caught his foot and threw him to the side. They then started using taijutsu and were somewhat even, but Choi was being pushed back. He's pretty good. If he wasn't fighting like I have my Sharingan activated, I would have trouble fighting him, since Naruto-sensei said not to go all out, thought Mikoto. Then Mikoto saw an opening and knocked Choi back and flashed some hand signs and said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. And 100 Mikotos appeared, but that also gave Choi the time to do a Buben Baika no Jutsu, partial multi-size technique. But Mikoto wasn't planning to go back to taijutsu, instead shouted, Grand Fireball Jutsu, and shot 101 very large fireballs around Choi. Give up, or you'll be burned to a crisp with the next jutsu, said Mikoto. Knowing he had nowhere to go, Choi said, fine, I give up. Winner Mikoto Uchiha, said Udon. The crowd erupted in cheers for the short Chunin exam. The first out of the stands was Naruto, who Hiraishin next to Minato and said to him, I know you wanted to fight Mikoto, but remember last time you fought her, that forest is a desert now, so I couldn't let you fight here. But don't worry, the three of you made Chunin. I kind of thought that was why, said Minato. Up in the Kage box. That concludes this Chunin exam, shouted Konohamaru to the crowd. The return of the forgotten. 5 years later, at an undisclosed location in the forests outside Hidden Leaf. There are the three people standing in the shadow of a tree, and the first speaks up, finally, after all these years, we will finally get what we want. Yes, but we would have done this 5 years ago if it wasn't for those brats from Hidden Destiny, said the second. But my village will finally have the Byakugan, said the third. And my village will have its revenge on that stupid Hokage, said the second. And we will do what even Lord Orochimaru couldn't do, said the first, and then he added, destroy Hidden Leaf. Don't forget to leave the Hugo women alive, said the third. Of course, we would want you to hate us, said the first. Up in a tree not far away. So remember my dad said to go all out once they attack, said a tall person in a black hooded cloak with fox and rabbit footprints in red on it, and on his back a gourd. I wouldn't have it any other way. Brother, said another with an akatsuki-like straw hat and black pants with the same print on them, and with a huge sword on his back. Now remember to stick to Shikamaru's plan. Rinrin goes in first and sets the field, then we follow, said the one with the gourd. Okay, said the rest of the 8 demons of destiny. That night at Leaf's Gate. Here they come, shouted the gate guard. Okay, move out and keep the fighting as far away from the village as you can, ordered Konohamaru. Yes, Hokage, sir, Leaf's forces shouted as they ran to meet the combined forces of Cloud and Rock. The first kunai thrown came from a Cloud Nin that hit its mark, killing a Leaf Nin. But as soon as that happened, thousands of kunai rained down on the Cloud and Rock Nin, killing many. But many survived until the flashes started. Most were yellow, but there was a couple red ones mixed in. Once the flashes stopped, there was only a Rock Nin left. Hey, you Rock Nin, go and tell Kabuto and the Kages to stop this war now, or they'll meet the end of their destinies, said a girl in a black hooded cloak with panda footprints on it. So get going, said a smaller girl. Well, she was bigger in some areas considering who her mom was, as she appeared in a red flash right in front of the Rock Nin. She had a cloak like most of the others with fox and rabbit footprints. That scared the Rock Nin off, so the Leaf Nin relaxed, having seen the cloaks in the Chunin exams, and knew they were the kids of the people who left many years ago. So how is Naruto doing? Asked Konohamaru as he walked up to where the group from Destiny was at. He's fine, though the triplets are giving Mom some trouble, said the last one of the 8 that had fox and rabbit footprints on their cloak. Haku. Dad said not to bring up the triplets, whispered the one with the gourd, and said, "Good job, Rinrin, all the Kanai were on target like always." "Yeah, but no one tried to run, so I didn't get to do anything," said the one in the open cloak that looked like it was covered in bike tire marks, aka snake tracks. "Don't worry, you, Mikoto, and Obito get the next fight, since we know from stories that Kabuto won't give up easily," said the one with the gourd. "Wait, Kabuto, he disappeared long ago. How do you know it is him behind this attack?" said Konohamaru. "The same way we knew the attack was coming, so we could warn you, Jiraiya's spy network. That, and we were just at his camp," said the one with the gourd. "Your dad and his laws," exclaimed Konohamaru. "Well, say hi to Aunt Hanabi for us. We got to go see when the next attack is going to be," said the one in the gourd as the 8 demons of destiny ran into the forest. Back at Kabuto's camp. "Bad news, Lord Kabuto. The brats from Destiny are here," said the rock Nin that was at the attack. "Why would we care about that? They're what at most Chunin level, so an army can take them easily," said Kabuto. "That just it, I couldn't tell how many fought, but me was wiped out by at most 8 teenagers. It might have even been only 5 of them," said the rock Nin. "You're saying that 5 teenagers, probably only Chunin level, killed all the Chunin we sent to attack, except you who escaped somehow," stated Kabuto. "Yes, but I didn't escape, they let me go," said the rock Nin. "Well, then we say they're trying to challenging me." "Okay, we'll give them a challenge," said Kabuto as he turned to the Kages and said, "Send everything you got, Rock to the north and Cloud to the south, and we'll crush Leaf in the middle. Now go," said Kabuto. "Very well, if that will get me my Byakugan," said the Raikage. "And my revenge," said the Tsuchikage. "How soon will your forces be ready for the attack?" asked Kabuto. 3 days, said both Kages. With that, the Kages sent word to be ready for the next attack in 3 days. Of course, the 8 demons of destiny heard this and went and warned Leaf and got ready themselves. Fight on 3 fronts. 3 days later in the forest of Hidden Leaf. Bad news, Minato. Kabuto sent 2 ENBU teams to intercept the ninja from Sand coming to help Leaf, and the rest of Cloud and Rock are on their way to attack Leaf, said Obito, who had just come from spying on Kabuto's camp. And the 8 demons of destiny are neutral, so they could attack Leaf if they have to. So Sand is coming since they are real allies of Leaf. Okay, change of plans then. Zabuza and Haku head out, follow the ANBU. Mikoto, Obito, and Baiton head to the north of Leaf, and Kushina, Rinrin, and I will take the south. Now head out, said Minato to the group, then added, "Remember, we are not aligned with anyone, so whatever side is the defenders is who we protect." With that, everyone headed out. Later that day, north of Hidden Leaf. The Kabuto's forces and the forces of Leaf were facing each other ready to attack, when they heard someone yell, "Stop this fight, and go home or face destiny." "Huh. Our destiny is to win this war," said a Rocknin ANBU captain, and then yelled, "Attack." "Thank you for saying that. I've been bored for a while," said the someone from before. The next thing heard was the sound of a lot of birds as Mikoto came running from behind a tree with a blazing Chidori in her hand and stuck a nearby Rocknin. When the blazing Chidori hit, it exploded behind the one stuck, killing him and burning Mini Rock and Cloudnin to death. And you wonder why they didn't use that jutsu in the Chunin exams, thought Kurenai, who was with the Leaf forces that went to protect the north, as Obito killed more Rock and Cloud with his own blazing Chidori. And the fight between Minato and Obito doesn't count since it didn't hit anything to set it off. Then Kuchios no Jutsu, summoning technique, rang out as a huge snake appeared and ate a couple Cloudnin. After that, the fight didn't last long and ended with a Cloudnin left. "Hey Cloudnin, how about go and tell Kabuto that he lost his chance and that the 8 demons of destiny are going to pay him a visit if he's lucky," said Mikoto. With that, the Cloudnin ran off, and soon after Obito, Mikoto, and Baiton disappeared. Meanwhile, to the south. "There's no way we are going to give up. We won't be defeated and Cloud will get the Byakugan," shouted a Cloud ANBU. "Attack!" yelled the Cloud ANBU, as he threw a kunai at a Leaf ANBU who defeated it easily. Sashoryu, twin rising dragons, rang out as thousands of kunai rained down on Kabuto's forces, killing many. Kabuto's forces, thinking they knew what was coming, started running from the kunai, not noticing that they were just regular ones, and since they were running in a panic, didn't notice that there was a line of the Kanai lining the forest that Kabuto's forces were headed to. Once the first of the Cloud and Rock Nin got to the line of Kanai, the slaughter started once more as Kushina's Hiraishin and started to kill the ninja headed to her. But that was a distraction too, as Minato had sent his sand and said Sabaku Q, desert coffin, Sabaka Soso, desert funeral, and killed the remaining Kabuto's forces, knowing that Mikoto was to be the one to send the final warning to Kabuto. When they were sure the Rock and Cloud Nin were dead, Minato, Kushina, and Rinrin disappeared into the forest. Near Wind Country. "You ready, Haku?" asked Zabuza once they caught up with the ENBU teams working for Kabuto. "Yeah," said Haku as he threw a three-pronged kunai in front of the ANBU. When the kunai landed in front of the ANBU, they started to look for who threw it until Haku appeared in a yellow flash in front of them and said, "Go home, we don't want to kill you." An ANBU captain didn't say anything and just threw a kunai at Haku, who simply ducked down and let the kunai go over his head. Once the kunai went past, Haku stayed down as the ANBU could hear something cutting through the air, but it was too late for two of them to move, and they lost their heads to a huge sword that stopped when it hit a tree. Then in another yellow flash, Zabuza appeared on his sword and said to Haku, "Do it." Haku then flashed some hand signs and threw several kunai into the air and shouted, "Makio Hyosho," demonic ice crystal mirrors, as ice formed around the kunai, freezing them in an ice dome around the last 6 ANBU. He then appeared on one of the kunai and started to throw kunai at the 6 ANBU and Hiraishin between the kunai frozen in the ice dome, creating a wall of kunai that killed the ANBU. "Well, that was easy," said Zabuza. "Yeah, you only threw your sword once, but it's time to head it back to the rest so we can figure out how we're taking out the Kages and Kabuto," said Haku. "Okay, though Mom and Dad might want to take care of them," said Zabuza. "Especially Mom, since she might want revenge for Cloud trying to kidnapping her as a kid and making Granduncle kill himself to protect Grandpa," said Haku. "Uncle Sasuke might want a piece of Kabuto too," said Zabuza. "You think he wants the Kabuto part or the Orochimaru part?" joked Haku. "Well, I'd say the Kabuto part since the Orochimaru part probably moved to Kabuto's, but," Zabuza joked back as they headed to where they were to meet back up with the rest of the 8 Demons of Destiny. Is it the end? The night after the failed attack at Kabuto's camp. "Kabuto, we were crushed. They came at us with a snake and flaming balls of lighting. It was a massacre. If the rest were as strong as the 3 that let me go, even you don't stand a chance. And the only reason they let me go was to tell you that you would be lucky if they came for you," said the ninja that Mikoto let go. "What there is in no way 8 brats can defeat us," yelled Kabuto as he threw a kunai through the ninja's head. "That was the last ninja we had, you know, Kabuto," said the Tsuchikage. "Yes. Now how long will it be before you can get more here?" said Kabuto. "At least 2 months, but it will be years before we recover from the losses today," said the Raikage, with the Tsuchikage agreeing. "Fine, we leave in the morning," said Kabuto. Even later that night, not far from the camp. "Okay, we only have Kabuto and the Kages left, and they leave in the morning, so it's time to call Dad," said Minato to the rest. "Well, let's hope it's not like last time we called Dad at night," said Haku. "Yeah, he was fuming that he was called away from Hinata," said Baiton. "Well, here it goes," said Minato as he threw his father's 3-pronged kunai down. "Hey kids," said Naruto as he appeared on the kunai. "Hey Dad, we're down to just Kabuto and the Kages, so what should we do?" asked Minato. "The Kages won't be a threat without Kabuto, so let them live. But with part of Kabuto being Orochimaru, he will always try to destroy Leaf and do his inhumane experiments, so take him out," said Naruto. "Okay," said Minato, then turned to the rest and said, "You heard Dad, let's move out." Back at Kabuto's camp. "Are we ready to go for the morning?" asked Kabuto. "Yes," both Kages responded. "Good," said Kabuto as a kunai hit the ground in front of him. "Kabuto, your end is here, and you Kages better get out of here or you'll join him," said Minato when he appeared at the kunai. "Huh, you think one teenager can beat me?" laughed Kabuto, then added, "Oh, I see little Kyubi boy got raped by that little Hyuga that always followed him around," then noticed Mikoto at the tree line and dug his grave a little deeper and added, "And I guess Sasuke went back to Leaf and knocked up that pig girl too." "That I was going to make it quick," But if you say one more thing about my family or friends, you'll wish you had never been born, yelled Minato. Not believing he could kill him, and just noticing Kushina Kabuto decided to be the world's biggest idiot, and said, I always thought that Pinky was a guy. But for the Hyuga to cheat on the QB brat with him, now that's a surprise. That's it, yelled Minato as 10 chakras surrounded him, and his sand turned into a tail. And think Naruto's one tail, but sand color, and a sand tail instead of chakra. What? But how the one tail was taken by Akatsuki about 20 years ago, said Kabuto. Haha. Where have you been? Living in a cave, said Minato with a little of Shikaku's voice mixed in. So what if I have, stated Kabuto. Well, since you have been in a cave for so long, let me introduce myself since I'll be your executioner. I'm the firstborn of the first Tenmaikichi, container of Shikaku, grandson of the fourth Hokage, and namesake to him. I'm Minato Uzumaki Namikaze, said Minato. While he said that, his sand snuck around Kabuto's legs and crushed them, but other than the pain it caused, Kabuto quickly healed using his and Orochimaru's abilities combined. So I guess it won't be too easy. Good, Shikaku hasn't had any fun in a while, said Minato. Minato then threw several of the kunai at Kabuto and started to Hiraishining around him. As he did this, he started to kick Kabuto back and forth till Kabuto was completely off balance. Then Minato made several Kage Bunshins, and they kicked Kabuto up into the air with the shout of Yu. Then some jumped up and kicked him higher with the shout of Zu. This continued with the shouts of Ma, Ki, Na, Mi, and Ka. As the last group of clones said this, Minato threw a three-pronged kunai just above Kabuto and Hiraishin up and kicked Kabuto back to the ground as he shouted Z, a combo, but instead of landing on the ground with a bone-shattering crunch, Kabuto was caught in Minato's sand, and Minato said, Now you die, Kabuto. Sabaku, Q, desert coffin. Sabaka Soso, desert funeral. Killing Kabuto, giving him no chance to heal again. Thus is the end of all the major evil forces in Naruto. Sasuke fell to the friendship of an old friend and his wife, and the love of his wife. Itachi was never evil to begin with. Madara ironically died of old age, and Kabuto/Orochimaru to the sand of the oldest son of Naruto. Oh yeah, well Sasuke, I'm still better than you, and to prove it my clan will be bigger than yours. Yeah right. Mine will be twice the size of yours before I even have grandkids, dope. Don't we even get a say in that matter? Will they ever stop competing, said Cheyenne to Hinata. Nope, they'll probably be 100 and competing to see whose teeth fall out first, said Hinata. End of story.